Stations. Oh, yeah. It's time for Sportstime on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stat Scoresworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. Connor helping us out again on the board. We're Sports Time and we're with you for the next 3 hours and a lot to talk about today as we're just a couple days away from SEC Media Days down in Dallas. We've got a lot of baseball action. We now know the NL starting pitcher. Summer League in Vegas is just about to tip off with the first game of the day. Grizzlies will go a little bit later this evening at 5 o'clock against the Kings. I haven't seen any official word, nothing yet on if Zach Edey will play this evening for the Grizzlies. His availability has really been up in the air ever since that first game where he went down a little awkwardly on his ankle. So we'll see, but we've got a lot to talk about over these next 3 hours. Some great guests joining us as well. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well, and on the Zach Edey front, I will tell you, I've seen enough.
You've seen
Next
enough?
time I want to see him
right.
is preseason game in September.
Okay, so you are team don't let him play anymore. No risk
I've
of injury.
seen enough, and
okay.
I don't know if we got to go full bubble wrap, but I wouldn't mind if FedEx they brought him home on one of those big old planes. It would take a big one.
It sure would, we'll definitely see. I know that's kind of the big discussion right now.
Handle with care.
Yes, definitely handle with care. The fragile box is what we need for him. So it'll be interesting what they decide to do. I know there was a story, I believe in the Daily Memphian, Drew Hill wrote about it and kind of talked to Coach March, who's the hustle coach, but it's coaching the summer league, and he said, Zach Edey wants to play. I mean, he's the first one that if you were to ask him,
he does.
He would say, I'm going to be out there, but
it's what they do. They play.
Sure, and he is definitely a competitor, and so you've got to be very careful. And at the end of the day, these summer league games don't matter at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him maybe one game, whether it be today or tomorrow, and then they shut him down. Wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see him at all through Vegas Summer League. But it's going to be something to keep an eye on over these next couple of hours before that ball goes in the air around 5 o'clock.
At the risk of being repetitive, because I think I alluded to this and maybe expressly said this earlier in the week, but I'm going to say it again.
Okay.
With the Olympics, this is a vintage, no-break, plenty of NBA news. Yeah. It's the best other than NFL offseason, no question about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's incredible. And you mentioned you alluded to it early in the week. I remember having that conversation, kind of sitting there and thinking, wow, I mean, especially for – people like me that I love. I mean, I was up here this morning, and Zach and I were looking at all the summer league rosters, and I mean, we were just rattling off names. And I mean, a lot of these guys you only know if you pay attention to college basketball. But I'm loving. I'm like, oh man, there's that guy and that guy. I can't wait to see that guy play. And guys that are on two ways or just trying to get their
highlights
crack
how hard
it.
It is to get to the NBA.
Oh yeah, exactly.
A lot of those names you go, that was a great player. He was a good college player. And most of them won't see many, if any, playing time.
Yeah, and so if you can get into the to summer league, I mean, you're absolutely right. You've got NBA finals, then right after that, you've got the draft, then you've got free agency, then summer league, Olympics starting up here right when summer league's ending. Once the Olympics are done, I mean, we're at training camp and getting ready to go. I mean,
schedule release.
Yeah, schedule's coming out, and we're ready to go. So it's definitely going to be
somewhere in there before opening night for the NBA. Mm-hmm. Maybe not something that buckles your knees, but there will be a significant trade.
Oh, absolutely. There will definitely be a move or something that is front page headlines, right when the NBA is about to start, and that's just kind of what makes
the league office doesn't really want a big trade. Especially after schedule and those national TV dates are released.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But they can't always control that.
No, I mean,
right deal comes along, you make it.
That's right. In a perfect world, that would be out early so that they can adjust. I mean, that's almost kind of the fun game every year is, you see the schedule come out and you're looking at all these marquee national television games. And I guess this year there'll be a lot of national televised games with what they've got on tap for some of these networks. But you look at that, and then you see a trade that comes out, and you're going, okay, well, that affects this game and this game and that game, and sometimes they end up flexing those games in dire circumstances. We kind of saw that a little bit last year with the Grizzlies with all of those injuries. So no, it's definitely a sprint for the NBA, and it's going to be fun to watch over these next several weeks and several months, really, before we're at the regular season.
If you were Major League Baseball, with the All-Star game being in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in Arlington,
Yep.
home of the Rangers at Globe Life Field, and Paul Skeens with his LSU national championship run just 13 months ago, a little over 12 months ago, really, just a little over, not more than 13. Would you bring him by SEC Media Days on Monday
Oh, man.
or during the day Tuesday?
I think it'd be smart. I don't know if they would do it, but I think I'd be completely for that. That'd be
I
fun.
mean, you got a captive audience
Sure.
of a lot of people talking and visiting
Oh, yeah.
during talking season.
Sure. And I mean,
And to talk that,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I don't know. In this part of the country, a lot of Braves influence. Yeah, I would say people on Radio Row and in the newspaper room, print room.
yeah.
You got a lot of Braves fans. You've got a good, now with the Texas influence, you have a good number of Rangers, Astros types, Cardinal types
Sure.
with Mizzou, Arkansas, Kentucky, West Tennessee.
Sure.
You're talking about a lot of baseball fans in there.
A lot of baseball fans, and I mean, you absolutely know that the people there from LSU would want to talk to him and want to hear from him. And there's a lot of other people, like you said, not only baseball fans, but kind of overlap because of how big SEC
I don't know that I would
is.
send him through the car wash at every single desk spot.
No. But I mean, there would be plenty of people.
I'd have him on SEC Network.
Certainly, I don't know why you wouldn't. So I think, that'd be a great idea. I think. I don't know if they'll do it, but I think it's a good idea.
I wish Paul Skeens really well. I do. I would love to see the Pirates have a renaissance.
Sure.
I said last year, or there's been a time that both Baltimore and Pittsburgh look like they might, do well in the same year. And I said that's a very 70s type World Series. They met a couple times in the 70s in the World Series to start the 70s and to end the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
But so I want Paul Skeens to do well. But rookie pitchers starting an All-Star game, it has not been kind to him.
Really?
He becomes the fifth that will start. Dave
Wow.
Stenhouse,
Okay.
1962 for the Washington Senators.
Okay.
First in war, first in peace, last
There we
in
go.
the American League. The Washington Senators. The rest of his entire career, he went 16 and 28.
Ooh.
What in the world has he done to get the All-Star
man.
start?
Yeah, that's
was
not great.
Whitey Ford busy? I mean, what was going on? Mark the Bird Fidrich, 1976, and it was some story. It captivated the country. And like Skeens, he got started later. He didn't get his first win, I bet you, until May that year.
Oh, wow.
And then was just pure gas the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And that was it for
Ooh,
the Bird, Mark
yikes.
Fidrich. His entire career, he went 29 and 19.
Wow.
So we got 16 and 28, 29 and 19. 1981, Fernando Valenzuela.
Yeah.
Great career. The best of these pitchers that I'm referencing. 173, 153. Not a Hall of Famer, but a Hall of very, very good.
Absolutely.
And then Hideo Nomo in 1995, and he finished 123 and 109. That's good.
That's good. Gets that one.
That's good
I'll take
representative
it.
big league career.
I'll
Yeah,
take
you'll take that. Your team would take that.
Sure, absolutely.
And he bounced around a little. So did Fernando Valenzuela at the end. But two of those four,
Yeah.
rugged,
Yeah, no, that's not great.
and nobody Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. So, man, maybe he can break that and have definitely a brighter career than those guys. Certainly been lights out already, but I guess only time will tell.
Yeah, and rookie, and
Yeah.
it's a brief part so far.
Sure.
I mean, he wasn't there out on the line on opening day.
No, not at all.
Not with the Buccos.
That's right. And so, has been lights out since he's been called up, but you're right. It has not been a long stretch of time in Major League Baseball for him. Did you see how he found out that he was the
I did.
starter?
Really nice.
Very cool. On the
Tell
Dan
that for people that didn't know.
On the Dan Patrick show, they were just doing an interview with it. Obviously, planned in advance, I'm sure, all of this. But Torey Lovello calls in, and Dan Patrick, who's just great at stuff like this, is like, "Well, Torey, why are you calling in? What's going on?" And he was like, "Well, I just wanted to say hello to you and everybody." And then he said, "Man, you're going to be the starter for the NL." And I mean, like the reaction from Paul Skeens was like very much he was trying to keep it cool, but you could tell
mind blowing.
It was very hard for him to keep it cool, and they got off very quickly with him afterwards.
He was at the Air Force Academy 2 years ago.
That's right, and was pitching and playing the field and hitting, and was a pretty good bat for Air Force.
What fielder position did he play?
I think he was in the outfield. He might have been DH, but I think he was like a corner outfielder. But was one of their better hitters at Air Force. I think had a ton of home runs at Air Force, and then goes to.
It's a story not unlike Joe Burrow's at LSU.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Came in and left a legend.
That's right.
At LSU.
Yeah, and so it's a really cool story. I mean, the entire Paul Skeens story is really cool. He was a designated hitter and catcher. How about that? So
whoa,
both sides of the battery. Don't see that very often, but
I've known guys that caught and pitched. They were tough guys.
Oh, you gotta be. Let's see what his batting was. At Air Force, his second year at Air Force, he had what'd he bat? Where's his batting average? His first year, he batted .410 for Air Force in 48 games. Second year, .314 in 52 games. Hit 13 home runs his second year at Air Force. Then obviously went to LSU. LSU said, "You know what? Your bat's fine and all. We just want you on the mound." And he said, "Okay." And it's worked out for him so far.
And at Air Force, both at home and in those league games, some cold weather games.
Oh yeah. No, it is not easy to be a pitcher playing at Air Force.
I would say very few warm weather.
I would probably agree with that. Especially like you said, that conference and places you're going. It's not like you're going cross country and playing a bunch of games in Florida. It's all.
Brian, can I do the unthinkable?
Oh, sure, go for it.
I'm going to defend Rob Manfred with any criticism of this as a PR stunt. Well, okay. Yeah.
Sure.
And then I can defend it that this is the natural days of rest for Skeens over Chris Sale.
Yeah. I think those are both fine arguments, yeah. I mean, we talked about it, Jeff Passan, who, is a great reporter that covers baseball for ESPN, put it out and said since he made his Major League debut, he has been the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. And so, when you look at what he's done and you pair that with, like you said, the days of rest, and it would just be a regular amount of days off for him. I think it made perfect sense to make him.
And All-Star games turn into smoke shows. Come in there, throwing it right down central as hard as you can.
Exactly, and so not going to face a lot of batters. Just go in there.
There won't be many sweepers.
No, not at all. And so I talked about it yesterday. I think another thing too, like you said, a PR move. That's great. I want Major League Baseball to do more PR moves because I think, especially with a guy like Paul Skeens, I think there's an area to capitalize on it, and especially
we would be crushing baseball if he didn't start.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think when you look at what the All-Star game is, and I said this yesterday, the most eyes are going to be on the game at the start of the game, and so it makes perfect sense to put Paul Skeens out there, and you look at the guys he'll probably be going up against, and he said it too this morning when he was on Dan Patrick. It's probably going to be Gunnar Henderson, Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge. Those are probably going to be 1, 2, 3.
They're pretty good at facing heat.
Those are three dominant hitters, and to be able to see a young up and coming star in Paul Skeens on the mound against those guys, there's going to be so many people that just tune in to see that. So I think it's an easy decision for Major League Baseball, and I'm glad to see that they decided on it. It'll be fun, like you mentioned yesterday, that build-up, because I think a lot of people think about, especially when it comes to the starter pitchers for both sides, okay, you get there, you enjoy Dallas, and then you go out there and you throw an inning, maybe an inning and a half, and then you say you're done for the night and you hang out in the dugout with everybody else. But no, it's going to be taxing on him. All of those interviews, the little media tour he's going to have to go on when he gets to Dallas. And so, it'll be fun to watch the build-up for Paul Skeens. I think a guy that everybody knows for what he does pitching the ball, but also I don't think Major League Baseball has done a great job of kind of showing their young stars to people outside of the game and kind of getting to know these guys. So it'll be fun to kind of see a little bit of Paul Skeens away from the game during that build-up to the All-Star game. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Alan Bell from the AB3 and Driving the Line. He'll join us to talk some wagering. We'll have to talk a lot of Major League Baseball. We'll get his thoughts on Paul Skeens being named the starting pitcher for the NL team. 3:45, we'll talk some NBA. We've already got one Summer League game going on right now. Magic already up 29-11 in this game, if anybody cared for a score. But the Grizzlies, they go later tonight at 5 o'clock. We'll talk a little bit about that. Zach Edey, will he play? Won't he play? Should he play? Should he not play? We'll talk some NBA at 3:45. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. He'll join us. We'll talk some more wagering with him, but we'll also start the build-up to SEC Media Days. He'll be down there next week with Brett in Dallas, so we'll talk some SEC football, maybe even some Big 12 as their Media Days took place earlier this week. 4:30, we'll talk some baseball. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, we'll get into some high, hard ones, but not just any high, hard ones, Brett. Exclusively college football today as we continue to build up to not only SEC Media Days, but all of these Media Days.
How many do you have? How many questions you have?
I don't have them numbered. I've got probably somewhere between 6 and 8 if I had to.
I have 6.
Okay, cool. So
we never get to them all.
No. We get to about probably 4 each. And then, because I look back, because what I always do is I try to put together more than I need.
Oh, yeah.
Just in case.
More always works
that's
in
right.
radio.
And so I went back. I found the last time we did high hard
Gotcha.
I was like, well, maybe there was one that I didn't get in that maybe fits with college football. And I looked, and I think I got through like 3 maybe last time we did it. So
I'm going to say 2 weeks from today,
okay,
the last unofficial mock bracket.
Okay.
We'll do that on Friday the 26th, and then at some point, opening game week of week 1, not week 0, that's the one we let fly.
I love it. It's getting close, Brett. I'm getting excited for it.
I guess it could change from July 26th to week. You could have a camp entry.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, anything could happen.
Mm-hmm. And now with the volatility of rosters,
you never know.
Somebody playing for Oregon could be playing at Tennessee.
That's absolutely right. So you got to keep an eye on all of it. But we'll do high hard ones at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we get to what's trending at 5:45. Wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Get out to Family Leisure because summer is here and it's time to party, and they've got great deals all over the place, like 24-foot above ground pools for $19.99, all ladders, filter systems, and robotic cleaners 20% off, select in-stock patio furniture up to 50% off, play gyms up to $1,000 off, patio umbrellas 20% off, and 4-person hot tubs only $29.99.99. And don't forget about the discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while supplies last. So head over to Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Produced by Connor Dacus. I'm with Bryant Dacus. We're Sports Time, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. And we want you to be a part of it at 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin. Guest, text, and talk line, and all guests will appear at the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. I'm surrounded by Dacuses. I'm the luckiest guy on earth.
I guess so.
I should be an honorary member of the family.
Sure, well, come on. There's space available.
Y'all got room at Christmas?
Spots open.
I may take you up on it. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2024 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673. But they want you to stop by and visit with them at the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway. That's where you can put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2024 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at LexusOfMemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day has got to be Paul Skeens being named the NL starter as a rookie. Only a couple months into the big leagues, he will make the start for the NL team. It's an awesome honor. It's definitely big time for him. But, Brett, I'll be honest, a little worried after those stats that you listed off.
Stunning.
Of the past rookie starters.
Well, I knew Mark Fidrich was just a one-year sensation. I knew that, and I had nothing on Dave Stenhouse.
Well, yes.
I got him confused with Don Stenhouse that I knew a little something about.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it's not great, but maybe he can bust out of that group and kind of make a group of his own, because so far he's been absolutely lights out. I'll say it again. I did not like the decision yesterday to pull him before the start of the 8th inning. Yes, I still blame Brett for them pulling him. Yes, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Yes, I'm superstitious. That's okay. It's your fault, Brett. I'm sorry. I mean, in my mind, that one's
barely
on you.
got it out. He was out.
You got it out before it happened. That's all that matters, Brett. That's all that matters.
History's unkind to you when you do that.
They've got an earpiece. They've got an earpiece in their ear. They're listening to our show. They hear Brett Norsworthy say,
"Pull him. Go to the righty."
Okay, all right, bring him in. We're talking. They're talking no-nos in Memphis. Yeah, that's it. Don't even let the relief pitcher warm up. Get him out there. Get him out there cold. So I wish they would have left him in there. I mean, just give him an opportunity to go the distance and get that no-hitter. But it's all right. I understand saving him, and obviously a young guy. I'm curious, we mentioned it yesterday, but we have one Pirates fan that texts in every once in a while when we talk about the Buccos. I'd love to hear from him what he thought about the decision yesterday to pull Paul Skeens. If he was a fan, if he was against it. I would probably bet he was probably against it.
Our Pirate fan stays mad at me because he thinks I'm a stuck-up Cardinal.
I love it. I mean, anytime we talk Pirates,
and I am.
I think nobody, especially before
and of
Paul
course
Skeens.
I am.
Well, yes, but it was great because the first time, I guess it was last year, the first time that I saw one of his texts about the Pirates, and I was talking to the Pirates. I was like, nobody probably cares that I'm talking about the Pirates right now, but I like watching this team play. And then I see a text, it's like, yeah, I love the Pirates. I was like, yes, let's go. And so I always look forward to seeing his text, but wish they would have left him in. Excited to see the build-up for Paul Skeens. Definitely deserving of the offer and the position to start. And we'll see what he can do. That lineup, Gunnar Henderson, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. It's going to be tough, but I do think Paul Skeens can do it and have a good inning up there in the first.
And Brian, of course I'm a stuck-up Cardinal fan, and the reason why is we are the best fans in baseball.
I mean, what other fan base is giving Paul Skeens a standing ovation after his outing?
Look how nice
Nobody.
we are.
That's right.
I mean, we are Miss Congeniality.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we
and
are.
Get ready for this text next week, somewhere during the middle of the week. By the end of the week, Brett's going to have 11 teams from the SEC in the college football playoff. Get ready for that.
It's definitely going to happen, yes.
My top story, the weekend is here for Major League Baseball. All-Star game on Tuesday. Standing starting to really harden. Mm-hmm. We know some teams will definitely be in the postseason, and we know some won't be. National League wild card really up for grabs. I think the divisions are kind of set in the National League. American League East and American League Central, I'm pretty sure about. It could change with Baltimore and the Yankees, but it's going to be one of those two. The American League, I think they have the superiority of the two leagues right now. They have about 4 teams. We're talking about Super Bowl potential winning teams. I think they got 4 go far at World Series teams to 2 for the National League.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day has got to be What are the Grizzlies going to do this evening when it comes to Zach Edey? We haven't talked a ton about it. We talked about it after game one, Zach Edey, and I don't think anybody really thought it was anything, and I don't think it is anything to be worried about at all. I think all of this is just precautionary, but he goes down awkward on his ankle. He makes to, the trainer comes over after they take him out, and they kind of make for the locker room, and then he stops, about faces, goes back and sits on the bench, and plays the rest of the game and looked good, played well, but then he missed game two. I think everyone assumed he wouldn't play. Then he missed
swear
game
if there's
three.
anything really wrong.
I don't think there's anything wrong at all. I think it's all just precautionary. But now we know Drew Hill.
You're blaming it on me. You'll say I cursed.
No, Brett, no.
Zach
no.
Edey.
You didn't say anything about Zach Edey. You get past there. It's just when it comes to, Paul Skeens and what happened yesterday. It was ugly yesterday, Brett. I'll be honest. It was just, it wasn't like you, Brett.
It was a poor timing.
It was. No, I think it's going to be interesting. Drew Hill did a lot of reporting, talked to Jason March after the third game in Salt Lake City, and he said that, they were going to take it a day at a time, see where he was at, that it was nothing to be worried about, that Zach Edey actually wanted to play and wants to play, but obviously as a whole organization, they've got to do what's best for the team and what's best for his future, and don't want to risk any type of injury that could result into something long-term. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him play a game or two. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him at all, but we'll know here in a couple hours if he plays. Right now, I mentioned Cleveland playing. Naquan Tomlin already getting a look in the game. The former Tiger got in for a couple minutes there. Don't know what he did in his time, but it looks like he'll get a lot of run with the Cavs. So that'll be fun to see. David Jones still with 76ers. We'll see him later today as well. So it should be a lot of fun in Las Vegas, but definitely a lot of questions when it comes to Zach Edey and if he'll play at all in Las Vegas.
My not top story, it's the calm before the storm. No, not before SEC Media Days, before next week's last major of the year. Glory's last shot,
That's
shall we
right.
say.
Yes.
Next week at the Open Championship, the British Open. I don't know, other than the time difference, what or how this course where they're playing the Scottish Open does in really tangible preparation for next week at Troon. It's a lot of bumps and fits and starts with all those golf courses over there. And next week, Scotty Scheffler will be back. He's not there this week.
Yeah, and it makes it a lot harder when
And I predict he goes first in golf picks next week.
I would think that's probably a smart bet. I think anytime he's in a tournament, he's the first one to go. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we come back, we're talking wagering with Alan Bell.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store. With 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, they deliver. Finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and River Grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, get new keys, and key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws. You need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Wilson White Station. Smoke is our sauce.
What is the Central Barbecue slogan? What are we playing?
Well, I just think that we don't emphasize often enough that even though Central Barbecue offers a variety of sauces at all of their many locations, Central Barbecue's barbecue doesn't even really need the sauce.
We should mention that more often. Central Barbecue doesn't take any shortcuts. The barbecue at Central Barbecue is slow smoked Memphis style for 24 hours to make it so flavorful you really don't need sauce.
That was my point. Well, boy, do they have great sauces.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to go sauce free at Central Barbecue. I'm just saying I could.
Again, exactly my point. Look at my copy. It's the first thing I said. You just hijacked the commercial.
See how it feels?
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself, or worse, others. And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elmer Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0307.
If the woman of your dreams has been searching online for the perfect engagement ring, she's figured out there's a few brand names that are worthy of consideration. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and she doesn't want a plain, ordinary cookie-cutter ring to wear the rest of her life. She wants a world-class designer ring, handcrafted by a true artisan that will hold value and stand the test of time. She's found Tacori, Verragio, Ajafi, Simon G., among other premium American-made designers. But when you try and find these exclusive rings, you quickly realize most stores don't offer them. They have knockoffs and lookalikes, kind of like those imitation bags and watches on the streets of New York City. But there is one jeweler where you can find the real deal, Genesis Diamonds. Genesis has been chosen by all the most sought-after designers. Genesis is your exclusive home for these iconic brand names that define excellence. Other stores can only dream of being able to offer these, but only Genesis has them. So be careful. Don't settle for anything less than the ring she is worthy of wearing. Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Sports 56 traffic.
We pretty much would expect for a Friday, but it's looking pretty good right now. Sam Cooper going outbound, passing Perkins. Over here at Highland, traffic's on the increase at times, but it's moving right now. 55 southbound through South Haven, working your way all the way down into DeSoto County. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry right here in Memphis has specialized in bridal ring purchases since 1984. Shop local this weekend. Save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stott, Sports Movie, and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, Alan Bell joins us from the AB3 and driving the line to talk some wagering. Alan, thanks so much for joining us. I know we want to get to several topics, but I want to start off with Paul Skeens being announced the starter for the NL All-Star team. What did you make of that decision? Really, what have you made of Paul Skeens so far through the majors? I saw yesterday, I've kind of talked a lot about it, that a lot of people are starting to talk about, since he's been in the majors, the best pitcher in Major League Baseball since that first start for him. I saw Jeff Passan say that yesterday on Twitter. What have you made of his start, and what do you make of him as a rookie being the NL starter?
Yeah, so first off, I appreciate you guys having me back.
Yeah.
Second off, I mean, is he the best pitcher in Major League Baseball? Like, I can't say yes, but I certainly can't say no.
Right.
I mean, he's just unbelievable, man. And here's the crazy part, right? So they pull him last night through 7 innings. He's got 11 strikeouts, a no-hitter going, okay? And they pull him because he hit that, he's getting close to the 100-pitch mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't even the first time they've done it
That's
this
right.
year. Yeah, they did it. He was doing that through 6 innings in May against the Cubs. It's just fascinating, man, of like just how good this guy is. Like, we all saw him at LSU, and we all knew that, he was money, right? But, I mean, doing this, and this is with no minor league time really at all. He had like one start, and it was, okay, yeah, you're good to go.
And Alan, you're right. He's burst on the scene, and he got a late start. This he wasn't even out there with those guys on opening day. But last night, Alan, and I know you track this day in and day out. Last night was a historic low run, low hit night, particularly for the American League. I think it was the fewest number of hits and runs for American League games since 1976 on a single night. I mean, the pitchers are just so far ahead of all the hitters. And Alan, it's funny to me because you had people just convinced when we got rid of the shift, it was going to break open into 11 to 10 games. we get rid of the shift, and offense has even gotten worse.
It has, man. We talked about it, right? These pitchers, number one, not only are they dominating, but then number two, now you've got teams that are, playing the pitch count game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's just work every count. Who cares if we strike out every time for the first 5 innings? We've got to get your starter out of the game, which the theory is correct. Here's the problem. You have to attack those last 10 to 15 pitches that you get of that starter because they're going to bring in a fresh pitcher right after that, right? So the theory is flawed, and you're seeing it across Major League Baseball. And look, I'm not going to pretend that I'm anywhere close to the intelligence level of Major League Baseball managers. I am not. But my goodness, fellas, that strategy doesn't work. I just saw the Nationals do it against the Mets, and the Mets did the complete opposite. They got up and said, the best 2 pitches that we're going to get in every at-bat are the first pitch or the second pitch. And they started doing that, and guess what? Their run production went from 1 run a game to 6 runs a game. You got to be aggressive. Yes, these pitchers are dominant, but hiding and shying away from it, buddy, that's never worked in any sport ever.
I'm with you, Alan. I want to go up there and be aggressive, and I know a lot of these analytics types, they want you to go up there and work counts and work up volume on high-pitch counts, and we know the more they're working, the more that dugout is breaking down old-fashioned ways, seeing something and catching up to them. I wouldn't die the death of 1,000 cuts and go up there and work a long count to meekly pop up behind the shortstop and third baseman. Go up there wailing. Get ready to hit and go up there and swing.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, look, they've only played baseball for 150 years. Hitting with 2 strikes is difficult at any level. Hitting with 2 strikes and 2 outs with no one on is almost impossible. And you do that inning after inning after inning. It's going to catch up. But again, like what you said, the thought process isn't correct. But you got to be aggressive, right? You're going to have to do it at some point because it's going to work out for you. Now, I'll say this. The manager of Tennessee, Tony Vitello, which we've seen every other college go after him. I think the only job that he would leave Tennessee for is the St. Louis Cardinals. He loves Cardinals, right? So I've heard him talk about, yeah, I know, right? I've heard him talk about high pitch counts, but it's the batter after a high pitch count. So if you have a guy that fouls off, works 7, 8, 9, 10 pitch count, watch the next hitter. And that, seriously, it works. I've been paying attention to that more and more, and he's absolutely right. So there's a time and place for it, but like you said, Brett, man, you can't do it for 9 innings, dude. It's just too hard.
Alan, I need you to clarify some things for me, please. We are very close friends. We text a lot. We are pretty tight, right?
Yep, very tight.
Have we ever one time had a conversation on text or verbal about Tony Vitello being the Cardinal manager?
I think he might be that one day, man. I just keep an eye on that one.
I would too. So we have not. And
we have not. Nope.
I suggested a few weeks ago, and our texters wanted to commit me to the state hospital.
Yep.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. No, we haven't talked about that one bit, and you're 1,000% correct on that. Look, he turned down. Tony Vitello's already turned down Texas A&M, and LSU. Buddy, in college, it don't really go higher much than that. Yeah. You start turning down the Mississippis, and you've got it. Those are the blue bloods, right? Those are the blue bloods. So, I think, yeah, keep an eye on the Cardinals, man. They ever won
Ollie Marmol makes noise. Ollie Marmol wins a postseason series, or he's out and Vitello's in. I believe it.
Yeah, I would too, man, because I believe that would be his ultimate dream. And you know what? Couldn't blame the guy. There really might not be a better job in sports than the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah. Alan, when you look at Major League Baseball as we get really close to All-Star break, who are some teams, whether it be injuries or just teams that are struggling right now, that are really ready, saying, let's go ahead and get to All-Star break because we really need a break right now?
Yeah, the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah.
They're probably your number one. They are just struggling at the plate, man. They just cannot hit. Their first 4 hitters, they don't work in sync together, man. It's weird that, that's their problem. They've got pitching that's phenomenal. But their first 4 hitters, man, they're actually bringing the team down right now.
They're all cleanup hitters. None of them are table setters.
Right.
Exactly. bingo, you're exactly right. They all go for home runs, man, and that's why they all end up 0 for 4, over the last 2 weeks or so. But you know what? They'll figure it out. They need a break. Everybody does. As weird as it sounds, the Chicago Cubs found out that you can actually swing back. That's legal in baseball. They've started to do that a little bit. They're scoring some runs here. Big series against the Cardinals, I believe. That's going to be an interesting one. But, yeah, man, I would say the Orioles, like that's your team number one. And then the New York Yankees, in terms of injuries, they've got to get healthy. They've got some problems. But I'm not too terribly worried about the Yankees. I would be worried about the Orioles because if anything happens injury-wise to their pitching staff, they're going to be in serious trouble. That pitching staff has carried them for about a month now, and we're just finally starting to see it.
Yeah. Alan, what do you like tonight in Major League Baseball?
Man, I'll tell you what. Keep with the Mets, dude. They're playing the Rockies. I like the over 8.5 in that one. The Mets are really swinging the bat nicely. I know that, Pete Alonso, probably got his eyes on the home run derby, but, Brandon Nimmo for the Mets is just barreling up. This guy is seeing it. He is hitting the ball hard. Even when he gets out, he's hitting hard line drives. Keep an eye on the Mets, man. They used to see some runs, and they'll give some up too to Colorado. And then, yeah, man, we got an odd series: the Braves and the Padres. Is that correct? Yeah, it's gonna be a
real good series.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fascinating one, man. I'm interested to see that, but yeah, the Mets, man, that's for sure.
Alan, you're a SEC Media Days veteran. Who or what would a player, a coach, commissioner, league official, anybody? What would be the number one pressing question you would ask? Would it be about the future and playoffs, or would it be about the now?
Yeah, great question. Okay, first off, it would be no one answering like Mike Gundy. All right, that's your number one. That's what you put on the wall and you say, Don't be this. All right. But no, man, like I think that you ask a great question, and I think it's both of them, right? Because, we've got Nick Saban leaving. We've got, Oklahoma Tech coming into the conference. How does that change? How do the schedules look? You're definitely going to get questions about, Florida and the future, for Billy Napier there. This might be his last year. What does Georgia look like, right? You got teams that are kind of, that are good, that are a little bit under the radar, like an Ole Miss, like a Tennessee, right? To where, and shout out to Lane Kiffin on the passing of his father, Monty Kiffin. That was a heck of a football mind, man. Really, really smart guy. Yeah, you got teams like that to where I really think Ole Miss, and I'm not just saying this, Brett, but like I really do think that Ole Miss is going to be a good football team this year, and they're flying a little bit under the radar, which is exactly where you want to be. Like, you don't want the attention at all. But yeah, man, I think both the present and the future, both of them, man, very, very present.
What odds do you set? Will it happen Monday? Will it happen Tuesday? Will it happen Wednesday? It always happens after Wednesday night on Thursday morning. The obvious first person late to Radio Row from staying out too late the night before with a bad case of bedhead as they come rolling down there late. What day does it happen on?
Oh, that's going to be Monday. Like, it's going to take. Well, actually, no, it'll be Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday because the Monday they fly right in and go to it and get out of there. Tuesday, you got to make decisions. Are we staying? What are we doing? Yeah. You're 1,000% right on that one, man.
Well, you can see that person, that look of, oh no, man, I bad overslept.
Oops, yeah, I think I made a mistake.
Oh, that's great. Well, it's going to be fun next week at SEC Media Day. Is going to learn, hopefully, a lot about these teams this year. Alan, last thing for you. If you had to put odds out right now on we see expansion or some sort of conference realignment within the next year, next time we're talking about SEC Media Days, there has been some sort of big-time expansion, conference realignment news. What would you set those odds at?
All right, so in the next year, probably plus 300. I think that we've got, I think they're going to let the dust settle a little bit, especially with the expansion of the college football playoff. But your question is correct. Really, the question is the over-under of 5 years to where we see essentially the Big Ten, the SEC, and that's it, right? Like, it's just like two major super conferences. So your question's right. I think that, those discussions are going to start coming. But, yeah, they'll probably let the dust settle because now with, the college football playoff being as big as it is, I'm sure people will gripe and complain about that, so
Sure.
they'll have their hands full.
What's going to be that final number when we eventually get to the Big Two? Will it be 40, 50, 60? Who's going to make the Big Two?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Probably what? It'd probably be, 60? Like, I mean, it's going to be a large number because you've got a lot of teams, essentially you've got ACC teams and then former Pac-12 teams that are going to kind of throw the wrench into it. But, I mean, it feels like it's heading that way, and it feels like 60, as crazy as that sounds.
Man, I want to see that baseball tournament bracket.
Oh, my God. Like, dude, you might as well just start. It's just Omaha for 4 months. Like, that's all it is.
Right.
Oh man, that would be insane. Well, Alan, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll do it again next week.
Man, I appreciate you, boys. Y'all have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Alan.
You got it, and good luck this weekend. Alan Bell with us every Friday, and I don't want to see college football. If it's 5 years, I'm not going to see college football go to the Big Two. Florida State's doing something, and it feels like any day.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like those rumors are starting to get really, really loud around Florida State, and obviously they're the big domino, and whatever they do, I think will determine a ton when it comes to college football.
It does feel like North Carolina at the state legislative level, not only are they tied to NC State, they're tied to Wake Forest as well. And maybe even the state legislators putting pressure on accommodating East Carolina in there. North Carolina is not going to be able to go it alone.
No. It doesn't feel like it at all. And so, I mean, it's going to be interesting. But you're right. A lot of news these last couple of days about Florida State, Clemson, those rumors kind of right behind them. They feel like the second domino that would fall. But it's going to be interesting to see kind of what happens over these next couple of months and if anything comes out of it. That might be a good question for Bruce Marshall in about 30 minutes, 15 minutes or so when we talk to him. But let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we'll talk some NBA.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
One of the key things that separates Genesis Diamonds from other jewelry stores is nobody's paid on commission. Vice President Nina Abraham says Genesis Diamond experts are never incentivized to get you to spend more or to buy something that's not in your budget.
Doesn't matter how much you spend. If you spend $500 or $50,000, their main focus is finding the perfect engagement ring or missing jewelry or sales tactics.
So when you walk into Genesis Diamonds, you can relax, take your time, get the education you deserve, and make a decision that's best for you, not the salesperson.
They can trust us. It's a huge, huge difference when you know that that person is just going to focus on what I want, what I am looking for, not what they want to sell.
No pressure, no risk, no
With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. East Memphis Steaks. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill. All with a lifetime warranty. Ready to cook in only 15 minutes with good temperatures below 200, above 700, and anywhere in between. Change your at-home cooking experience for life with our unmatched fired grill flavor that has our customers raving. Get your Big Green Egg and all our accessories at East Memphis Ace on the corner of South Light Station and Quince Road.
Hi, this is Jim Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out of the store. Hi, this is Jim Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out of the store.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack, Sportsworthy, and Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you as we've only got a couple minutes left in this hour. Got to talk some NBA halftime of the first Summer League game. Another one about to start here on ESPN2 in the second gym. Timberwolves and Pelicans. They'll go at 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock, Grizzlies and Kings. We've already seen 3 Summer League games from the Grizzlies. This one, the first game of the Las Vegas, the NBA 2K25 Summer League. Brett, your team, no more Zach Edey. You saw enough in game 1. He showed you plenty. You would rather err on the side of caution, and we'll see you in the regular season.
Next stop, Media Days, FedEx Forum,
right.
sometime in September.
All right. I wouldn't mind that. Obviously, I think just as fans, I think you always want to see those guys, but I think when you kind of take a step back and really look
We've
at
seen
this,
him 4 years at Purdue.
Sure, absolutely. And so I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they sat him. I'd like to see him play at least one more game. And then, if he has another great game, then sit him, the rest of the time. But I'd like to see him at least one more.
All kidding aside, on Memphis Grizzlies Media Day sometimes in September, we know what the focus is going to be on.
Oh, yeah.
But any Zach Edey mania, that helps a little with Ja, just to take the I think locally the temperature has been taken down. There's not anybody that's going to be there harassing John Morant by any means. And what's the need in talking about it anymore?
No, there is no need. It's done. It's in the past.
Injury and recovery from that, yeah.
Absolutely. And those questions will
but
be asked.
This is the big move on.
Right. And so, I think, especially like you said, I think here locally, I think everyone has moved on from it. But you never know. I mean, what was it? Was it Media Days last year or maybe it was right before Media Day, but there was somewhere along the way where ESPN had somebody down here in Memphis and did the big front page story that came out like right before the season started. So, I mean, that
was thinly sourced.
Yes, very, very. And so, I don't know. I mean, I would not be surprised if something like that was pulled again. But yeah,
that's a good point.
I think here locally, everyone's past that. It's been done.
Play ball.
All the stories have been done about it. All the takes have been made about it. Let's get back. Make sure you're healthy from your injury, and let's see what you can do. And I think the hype should be there for this group.
And the first thing on schedule reveal days, sometime in August. A lot of times it's that Thursday or Friday. We're out at the golf tournament.
Sure.
We're out there a week later. We may have it.
Yeah.
By then, by the time we're out at the golf tournament, first thing we all wonder about are the Christmas games. They float those out a little, even a little in advance of that. I'm holding out hope for that for the first time ever to host.
Yeah, that'd be great. And obviously, we knew kind of last year that was going to be right in there with Ja's suspension, and so
in the PR optics,
sure. And but I would love to see it. And I think with what this team could definitely be next year and having everybody healthy, I do think there's that opportunity out there. And you're right, that will be something that Shams and Woj will start reporting that a couple days before the actual schedule reveal. So yeah, I mean that's definitely something to keep in mind, and maybe hope that, like you said, we might be downtown on Christmas cheering on the Grizzlies. That'd be definitely a lot of fun.
NBA opening night set, not the team, but you feel certain it'll be the champions, Boston hosting someone on Tuesday night, October 22nd, and then everybody gets going either Wednesday night the 23rd or Thursday night the 24th.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. You're right. We're very close to that schedule reveal, and see if you can get a Christmas day and kind of see how that schedule is going to fall for the Grizzlies, who definitely have a lot to prove nationally because those injuries, we say it all the time, they've kind of been forgotten about. And,
how about Luka and the Mavs in Memphis on Christmas Day? That'd be fun.
I'd like that. That'd be a lot of fun. Mark it down.
Kyrie.
Clay. I mean, that would be
right.
That would be a good time. That would be a really good time. But we need to go ahead and get to a break and wrap up this hour. When we come back, we're talking to Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. He joins us next.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
You've got real work to do. Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done. Fast. We've got a huge variety of metals in stock, and we cut to size. Fast. Bottom line, we get it done fast, so you get it done fast. Doesn't get easier than that. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a store or buy online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
There's only like 2 days the whole year without a game. That's it. That makes just about every day game day at DraftKings Sportsbook. Super easy to get started. Try betting on something simple, like picking a team to win. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook's app. Select your team. Place your first bet. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, 90 seconds, and use the code HERD, H-E-R-D. That's code HERD for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. See terms and responsible gaming resources at dkng.co/baseball.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall pool bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. And in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
You watch sports and listen to sports. Now let's talk sports. Well, not anymore, because Sports 56 is opening the airwaves overnight. From 12 midnight till 6 a.m. for people like you to talk sports during your own 1-hour radio talk show on Sports After Dark. It's for 1 hour. Tell us what's really on your mind regarding sports. Your favorite sports team, favorite player, discuss pre-games, post-games, all games. Let's talk. Orientation is required. Interested applicants must contact the podcast center at gmail.com or call 901-468-3097. That's the podcast center at gmail.com or 901-468-3097. Amateur and professional talk show hosts encouraged to apply. Required orientation is Saturday, July 20th, or you can take it online at your leisure at the podcast center, Memphis.com.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in downtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders, CBS Sports, and his own website, gamsports.net. With over 30 years on Memphis radio, with Hager Captain and Sports Talk, here's Bruce Marshall with Brian and Brett.
Bruce Marshall joins us from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. Talk a little bit of everything. We'll get some plays later from him for Major League Baseball. He joins us on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us. I know everybody excited for SEC Media Days next week, but earlier this week we had Big 12 Media Days in Vegas. Did you make it to any of that, and any takeaways from Big 12 Media Days?
No, I stayed clear because it's about 118 in Vegas this week. So we've been in California
Smart.
this week.
To cool off.
Yeah, and it's funny. The Vegas, you halfway expect, I guess that's sort of almost in the Big 12 footprint now because the Arizona schools in Utah have some presence there in Las Vegas. So, no, I did not go to that one, but I will be in Dallas on Monday where I'll see Brett and some of the other WHPQ guys.
Looking forward to seeing you, Bruce Marshall. Did you realize there are 16 teams in the current Big 12?
Yeah, I lost. It's easy to lose count, and it's expanded well, and they may not be done yet, but it is 16, and it's funny. It is interesting because a lot of teams seem to think they have a better chance in the Big 12 now that Texas and Oklahoma are gone. Although Oklahoma State did get in there in the championship game against against Texas last year. They nosed out Oklahoma to get there. But the league has gone through a transformation. I should mention BYU, too. Speaking of Las Vegas, I mean, they used to be sort of a second home team in Las Vegas until recent years. And then the Golden Knights came and the Raiders. They've been sort of de-emphasized. But it's very interesting. New coach, Brent Brennan down at Arizona. Of course, Dion is in the league right now. A couple of quarterbacks coming back from injuries. Rising at Utah and Daniels at Kansas. Both missed extensive time last year. Either of those two guys stays healthy, it will help those teams a lot. One of these teams is going to get in the playoff at least. Someone's going to win this league. And I think about half the schools at least, if not more, think they have a shot.
What we got 16 teams, Big 12, 17 in the ACC, and 18 in the Big 10. Who is the conference to push the SEC for conference supremacy?
Only the Big Ten can do that now, I think. And even it's a tough road to hoe. Of the new teams coming in the Big 12, Big 10, we might have touched upon this a couple weeks ago. I think Oregon's probably the only one that could make some serious noise this year, which a lot of people expect the Ducks to do. Washington looks like it's sort of a reboot after DeBoer left, but I did like the hire of bring in Jed Fish from Arizona.
Love it.
But a lot of retooling there. USC and UCLA, I do not think are going to be that strong this year. But it's the old guard from the Big Ten. It's Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. Michigan doesn't have Harbaugh there anymore. I think they ought to be prepared for a drop-off. I'm not so sure how this is going to work with Sharon Brown, and Ohio State's got to figure out the quarterback thing. Maybe Will Howard from Kansas State is the answer. Ohio State in that bowl game last year, I mean, that was pretty ugly against Missouri. But the SEC is so far ahead of the rest. 4 or 5 SEC teams. I'm not sure they'll put that many in the 12-team playoff. But if you're talking about the 12 best teams in the country, I mean, half of them might be from the SEC. So I think they're clearly head and shoulders above everyone else.
Could it end ugly for Lincoln Riley at SC?
Yes, because they're very disappointed. There are a couple of things about SC. Remember, now they did at one point last year. I think they were in the top 5, and they ended up 7-5. Just a complete collapse. The defense was awful, and Caleb Williams, his leadership when he started crying on the field after the Washington loss, I think that didn't sit too well with a lot of people. Riley fired his defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, during the season. Last year, late in the season, he brought over Danton Lynn from UCLA to coordinate the defense now. But that has been, Riley's teams at Oklahoma sort of look the same. And his last year in Norman, which was 2021, there were a lot of people there thought Oklahoma sort of underachieved, even though they did get to 10 wins that year. They didn't think things were going all that well. But SC, remember, whenever they lose to Notre Dame and UCLA in the same season, and they did resoundingly so last year, that could spell trouble for the head coach. It's gotten a couple of them fired in the past. As far back as Don Clark, 59, he was moved out he left on his own, but they were 8-0 in their last 2 games and lost to UCLA and Notre Dame, and he's gone the next year, and John McKay came in. Ted Tollner, the same thing. And if Riley loses to UCLA and Notre Dame both in back-to-back years, just that alone is going to put him in trouble. But look at that SC schedule. There's a lot of other tougher games besides that. And I think he'll be doing well just to get to 7-5 like he did last year.
Do you think it is accurate that USC wants out of the Notre Dame series?
Possibly. I think they'll see how it's meant so much to SC over the years. They're going to try.
Have they ever threatened that before?
SC really hasn't. Notre Dame has threatened it a couple of times, but they've always sort of coveted that exposure that playing SC has given them out in the West. They introduced Stanford in the late 80s as, every other year they'd be in California to play one. Notre Dame has always valued that exposure they get in California. But you're wondering nowadays, the whole college football map and everything is sort of changing so much, if those old rules still apply. But I And there's a lot of SC people who might be looking at this new Big Ten thing and wondering, geez, should we also have Notre Dame in there every year? It's always going to make the schedule tough. They throw LSU in there too this year. Plus these new big, they got to go back to Michigan in September. It's going to be a tough road to hoe. Maybe there's no room for Notre Dame in the future. We'll see.
Bruce, you mentioned when talking about the Big 12 and how they have 16 teams now that they might not be done yet. There's been a lot of rumors over the past couple of days about the future for Florida State, maybe even the future for Clemson, some of those ACC schools. Do you think we hear some type of news about conference realignment, expansion in the somewhat near future within the next maybe year or so?
Yes, we will. I'm just not sure where it's going to come. And the Big 12 could figure into that. I mean, all the saber rattling that Clemson and Florida State are doing, and to a certain extent North Carolina and the Virginia schools in the ACC, I'm just not sure where they have a landing spot. And if the SEC really wants to cut up the pie anymore and to bring them in, the Big Ten, I don't know. I mean, do they really want to leave the ACC for the Big 12? Is it that much more of a money deal for them? I don't know. This whole thing with these teams saber rattling in the SEC is in the ACC. I'm sorry, is destination unknown. But I do think that's the most important thing to come up in the next 6 to 12 months is that grant and rights that Clemson, Florida State in particular, are trying to break, and the media rights deal. If they break that, then all these media deals across the country, there's precedent there in the courts, and they may not stand up. And, the Stanfords and the Cals and the SMUs who've just joined the ACC, they might be free to look somewhere else then, too, which I don't think it's a long-term answer for any of those three. One other thing, there will be some movement by this point next year involving what's left of the Pac-2, which is still a legal entity there. But whatever Washington and State and Oregon State do they want to reassemble something like an old Pac-12? If Stanford and Cal are back on the table, then maybe they come back in. Do they take the best of the Mountain West? Do they just amalgamate with the Mountain West? Or do they think they can go somewhere else? Maybe some of those ACC teams, schools, maybe even some Americans. Memphis has been mentioned too. So something's going to happen by next year, at least involving the Pac-12, even if it's just some sort of further amalgamation with the Mountain West. But we're not done with this movement. We're just taking a pause for the next 12 months or so.
Bruce, if you were Memphis, where would you want to land? Would you want to land in the ACC or the Big 12?
It depends. If it's the ACC like it is now,
right.
Probably
Tobacco
the
Road.
ACC.
Yeah.
If it's the ACC without Clemson and Florida State, maybe the Big 12. So I think Memphis is going to sort of have to wait to see how these other dominoes fall. I mean, they're probably the next school to move up, like UCF did a couple of years ago, like Cincinnati did, Houston. So they're going to have to wait to see how this shakes out in the ACC. But I would predict within 2 years, you might see something happen with Memphis, perhaps Tulane. They talk about Rice some too, just because it's in Houston, but I just don't know how much of a realistic that is with Rice. Memphis, lesser extent Tulane, might be the next schools in play to move up.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, but I can hear people now saying this. We've been 2 years away for 40 years.
Yes. I know, and it's always been Memphis continues to be bypassed, but the dynamics of this stuff now have changed so much the last couple of years. I think something might pop here in the next 2 years, but you're right. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, and that's sort of been the track record and history of this thing involving the Tigers.
talking to Bruce Marshall. He joins us every single Friday from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. Bruce, next week it's going to be very weird at SEC Media Days when they introduce Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer and not Nick Saban. I know you're much more familiar with Caleb DeBoer than I think a lot of people in this area in SEC country are with him. I'm sure a lot of people saw him on national television last year leading that Washington team. But what do you expect to see and hear from Kalen DeBoer next week as he represents Alabama at SEC Media Days?
Well, unfortunately, he's going to sound like everybody else.
That's right.
He doesn't. And so did Coach Saban, sort of. But you always were wondering, you're sort of waiting for Coach Saban to get mad.
He always asks us how our summer was going, though, Bruce, and it really felt very sincere.
Yes, and
especially
I
you with the Auburn golf shirt on.
Yes, that's right. And I may bring that again.
Break it out.
But he, his way of, he didn't answer questions direct. He filibustered them, old style filibuster, and it was like he was running out the shot clock. He figured, if I take 5 minutes to answer a question, that means I can only take 5. Maybe I'll get 5 questions. This my whole segment here. Whereas some coaches rat-a-tat-tat an answer off, and they got to take a lot of questions. But DeBoer, I'm to the point where I don't expect to hear anything of note from any of these coaches, and I'm just sort of hoping, something that stirs the pot a bit. Maybe Kiffin does it. But the days when it was kind of more fun, when Spurrier was there, I'm going back a ways. And I only caught Spurrier, I think, at his last SEC Media Days. But some of these more unpredictable coaches who might say some funny things, I don't know who the comedian. Les Miles was sort of inadvertently funny. Bielema was kind of entertaining when he was at Arkansas. But I'm not sure who's going to entertain from the current bunch of SEC coaches. It ain't going to be Billy Napier. It's not going to be Kirby. And I don't think it's going to be Mike Elko either, so we'll see.
Did Texas A&M improve from Jimbo Fisher to Mike Elko?
Yes. And I think this is the one hire that we really want to watch here. Look at what he did with Duke. And, oh, by the way, interesting opener. He does open with Notre Dame at home and against the quarterback he coached last year, Riley Leonard. So that's sort of an interesting thing that first weekend. Yeah. But we might have talked about this back last December, Brett and Bryant, that the best hire A&M has made over the last 40 years was R.C. Slocum. And his credentials a lot like Elko's, although he just slid in from being the defensive coordinator for Jackie. But a defensive coach by trade who wasn't, who not all that flamboyant. So it wasn't like some of these other guys that A&M has hired who flamed out. So this is the hire that felt most like Slocum in the last 40 years, and that one worked out the best for A&M. And I think Elko, displayed his chops last 2 years at Duke. And, they were in the rankings last year until Riley Leonard got hurt. And then they really had quarterback issues after that. But we know he's a defensive mastermind. If he can figure out the quarterback thing at A&M, they could be a team to watch pretty soon.
Yeah. Bruce, switching gears here a little bit, we learned that Paul Skeens will be the starter for the NL All-Star team next week in Dallas. What did you make of him being announced the rookie for Pittsburgh, being announced the starting pitcher for the NL?
Yeah, I was talking with the guys down in Baton Rouge today, and we're trying to think of anything that sort of reminded us of this. Maybe Mark Fidrich's rookie year, although he came in that would be 76, and I think he started the All-Star game that year too. But he came, and he didn't start the season with the Tigers. He came in, though, about mid-April. Skeens came in later than that, and I don't recall anybody coming in later, making their major league debut just within like 2 months of the All-Star game and starting. It would never happen for a position player now because the voting would never do that because they wouldn't even be on the ballot. Mm-hmm. But this is pretty strange. Fernando started in 81, although that was a weird season. Fernando did pitch a little bit the previous year at the end in September, and they were coming off the strike in 81, so we had 2 months off. They came back with a strange sort of all-star game in Cleveland, the first game back. So that whole 81 thing was kind of crazy. So this, Fidrich is the only thing that sort of reminds me of this, but even then, Skeens is sort of treading new territory here. And I think we got to wonder if he's, does he have a shot at the Cy Young, too, if he keeps pitching the way he has? Maybe. I mean, right now I think Chris Sale is probably in the lead. But we know his injury history. Skeens, and coming off another great effort yesterday at Milwaukee, we were asking a couple weeks ago, will they put him on the team? We thought they would. And now he's going to be starting. So that's really the way he's pitching, not a surprise.
And I spoke about it earlier. Mark Fidrich burst onto the national scene and really was made about 2 weeks out before the All-Star game with a Monday night baseball appearance on ABC. Yep. And I think it was the backup plan game. I think the game the A team was going to broadcast was rained out, and they had to go to Warner Wolf and the backup team. And Warner Wolf was a great baseball announcer, and the Bird phenomenon was off after that night. It was something.
Yeah, and you think about it, and for the way the capacity for the media to handle the Fidrich phenomenon in '76. Imagine how it would be now, where there's so many other outlets. It's like a 300 times more chance to get exposure nowadays with everything.
Well, look at Shohei.
Fidrich nowadays would be a real phenomenon today.
What Shohei did a few years ago, Bruce, we said we would have been interrupting regular broadcasting when we had just 3 channels back then.
Oh, yes, right, and that's
for his at-bats.
'76. Yeah, it was still pre-ESPN, and we had Warner Wolf, and they had, the Monday night, and you'd have, Keith Jackson and Michaels was working some of it then. They put Cosell in the booth. They had Bob Prince for a bit. So that's a funny little bit of national TV coverage when ABC got involved in the mid-'70s with the Monday thing, and then they actually got to the World Series in '77. That Dodger-Yankee was an ABC World Series.
Yeah. Bruce, do you like anything tonight in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I'm talking about Pittsburgh. Now, it's not Skeens tonight. Marco Gonzalez makes his first start since April when he pitched very well. He strained a forearm. He's been out about 3 months. A couple bumpy rehab starts in Indianapolis, but he goes tonight against the White Sox. And the White Sox are 27-68. I know Garrett Crochet is pitching tonight, and as good as he's been, but they have lost in his last 4 starts because the White Sox don't score. They're not 27-68 by accident, and you get the Pirates here at a pretty big price. They're not an offensive juggernaut either, but I think I would take Pittsburgh there as a very interesting underdog with Gonzalez. And how about the Mets? If you went on a worldwide cruise, guys, about 5.5 weeks ago, and you did not have access to any MLB scores or news, and you came back into port this morning and picked up the newspaper and saw or went to the website and saw the standings, and the Mets are actually in a playoff position right now, you would think you were in some sort of an alternative universe. But
their owner, Steve Cohen, probably did that.
Yes, he probably did. He would have been justified doing it. But here they are. Now they get the Rockies in for a weekend set at Citi Field, chance to get more momentum. Colorado's starting a guy, Tanner Gordon, who's only had 1 start, and he got blasted last week in his only start. They are really bad. Mets go with Manaea, who's pitched very well, really well his last few games. On the run line tonight, that's not a bad spot, I think, with the Mets. And one more, I might go with Detroit and Skubal tonight. He's laying a little price, but that might be your AL Cy Young favorite. The Tigers have sort of turned things back around, just won 3 or 4 versus Cleveland, and the Dodgers come in here really struggling right now.
They are.
James Paxton goes tonight. He is the only non-rookie right now in their starting rotation. All these injuries they've had, and Paxton hadn't been all that good. They were just swept in Philadelphia. They are riding. They wish the All-Star break started now. I'll give Detroit a solid vote tonight over the Dodgers.
Phillies really put it on the Dodgers in Philadelphia tonight. It's a matchup of two teams that both used to be in Philadelphia, the Oakland Athletics against the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies stayed. The A's have bounced around and getting ready to bounce some more. These prices tonight, though, Bruce, that Phillies game, $265, you mentioned run line. not money line for Mets. Mets money line minus 290. At 265 for the Brewers tonight over the Nationals. That's some healthy prices. That's hard to bite that off.
Well, it is, and that's why even, some of these games, like the Mets, you're laying a price on the run line, too, with them, and you are with the Phils and the Brewers tonight, too. So, it's a minus price laying an extra run. So, some of these, though, I don't mind that. I'm not as sure about the Brewers tonight. But the Mets, I think, and because you're going against Colorado, I think you can do it. But sometimes you almost have to use the run line. I just hate laying over $2 in any MLB game. And when some of these are up to nearly minus 300, that's just a little too rich for my taste.
Yeah, that's a lot. Bruce, where can we find more of you?
Yeah, check me out online. Got this new one called winnersandwhiners.com. Featuring the picks up there. They let me pick soccer, too. We are having a great run of the Euros. We got a great final coming up on Sunday, España, Inglaterra. So I'll have my pick up there probably tomorrow. We're on a 15-4 Euros run, winnersandwhiners.com. Also, you can see my stuff, VegasInsider.com, picks there. Also, CBS Sportsline, that's sportsline.com.
Bruce, enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. See you Monday in Dallas, Brett.
You got it, Bruce. Be safe.
Thanks,
Thank
Bruce.
you so much. Our friend Bruce Marshall with us every Friday. Look forward to seeing him at SEC Media Days next week. At All-Star Chevrolet, if you want to drive something to the beach, to the lake, to the mountains, to anywhere, start it at All-Star. First exit into Mississippi on Highway 78, Kraft Goodman Road. That's your first exit, and you're there at All-Star Chevrolet, and that's where you kick off any of the summer road trips. At All-Star, hundreds of new and pre-owned Silverados are there. Some mark 12% off invoice. Add up the All-Star special discounts and look for Costco member deals as well. One sweet buyer's market with financing as low as 1.9%. No payments for 90 days on a bunch of new All-Star Chevys, and nothing beats road trips in that beautiful new Tahoe. Get an extra $500 bonus back if you're a healthcare worker, recent college grad, educator, military, first responders. Time to go back to school. Get that extra $500 bonus back. No matter what pre-owned you're looking for, they have it at All-Star. An Expedition, 4Runners, Navigator, Jeeps, all the trucks, all at Olive Branch, where you can drive every one of those vehicles I just referenced. Bring any vehicle you want to sell and get a big check today. Head to All-Star. Don't miss All-Star Chevy's special summer sale going on right now in Olive Branch at All-Star Auto Group. Connor, I felt for you when Bruce said, and tonight against the White Sox.
Well, yeah, it happens.
Like I said, season starts Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
There you go.
Sunday's
That's a good
the
attitude,
day.
Connor.
I guess so. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we talked a lot about Paul Skeens being named the NL starter, but a lot of other news and things going on in Major League Baseball. So when we come back, we're talking a ton of baseball. That's next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
Memphis Public Links has so much going on right now. Audubon is right around the fairway. Wait until you see when this thing is a finished product. Fox Meadows is in great shape. The Links at Pine Hill is now a masterpiece of a place to play, as are really all the other Memphis public golf courses. Galloway is playing like a championship course. They just finished the 75th year of the OPO, and Overton Park is now talked about, and that layout all across the state. And by the way, folks, it's so easy to make a tee time. The hard part is getting your buddies to pick their time. You go online to memphispubliclinks.com, select your course, then grab your tee time. Simple, easy, and incredibly convenient. Also, on the website is a schedule of upcoming events. There you'll find something that will interest you. Again, if you want to book a tee time or find out more about tournaments or other events at any of the great Memphis public golf courses, go online to memphispubliclinks.com.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Looking for an engagement ring that will really knock your socks off? You need to be at Genesis Diamonds. It's such a privilege at Genesis Diamonds for us to work with the world's finest designers, to be able to offer brands like Tacori and Verragio, and we're excited to be able to give you something really this time. Genesis Vice President David Cooper, the craftsmanship, the detail, the quality, the individuality is darn better than anything else. Genesis has been selected as an exclusive provider for every top designer from brands to choose from. And if that's not enough, they can create something that's truly just craft your literally anything you can imagine. We have the capabilities to realize any dream. Things that other stores may call new, we've been doing for 3, 4, and 5 years already. So don't settle for the mediocre style design. You deserve it. I'm David Cooper from Genesis Diamonds, and I'm excited to see you show up. It's extended. Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. The police are still dealing with a couple of accidents out here. Busy just in a couple of spots like Sam Cooper going outbound. It's been busy around the zoo this afternoon with some extra volume over there. Traffic's picking up I-40 here at Danny Thomas as you work your way westbound I-40 back across the Hernando de Soto Bridge. Weimer's Jewelry right here in Memphis. They specialize in bridal ring purchases. They've been around since 1984. That's Weimer's Jewelry. Shop local, save a lot of money on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
All right, Brett, final weekend before the All-Star break in Major League Baseball. I think some good matchups this weekend. And for the Cardinals, they get their rivals, the Chicago Cubs, at home this weekend. Game 1 tonight will be on Apple TV+. Then we'll have the doubleheader tomorrow. And
I'll be listening on KMOX radio.
Yes, you will. And then Sunday, they will wrap that series up and get to the All-Star break. What do you expect from the Cardinals this weekend in this 4-game series against the Cubs?
I'll take 2-2. 3 out of 4. I just don't know if the Cardinals are good enough to flex on anyone like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, we always talk about how good is this team, and I think we've both kind of agreed they're all right, but they're not great. They're not necessarily a great team.
Here's your rosiest 3 out of 4 scenario. Win tonight with Sonny Gray.
Oh, yeah.
Split the doubleheader tomorrow.
Okay.
Close it out Sunday.
Yeah. I think
you head into the break with a little momentum with that.
I think you feel really good if that's how it plays out. Splits and doubleheaders happen all the time, so I think that's completely fine.
Very common.
And then you win tonight, you win Sunday, you get one tomorrow. I think that's a great weekend.
Sonny Gray's had his toes lit up the last couple times out though.
He sure has. It has not been his best outings, and so I think you want to see a good good start for him tonight before you get into the break.
And going against famous Cardinal killer, Kyle.
That's right.
Kyle Ferguson Jenkins Hendricks.
That's right. And, Kyle Hendricks has not had a good start to the season. 1-7 with
the
a
Cardinals
7-5-3.
are usually the cure for him.
That's right. Yes. So, that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on tonight because you're right.
I wanted to trade for him one time just to get him away from us.
Well, I mean, you know what? That's
not have to play him.
That's like that's a little chess move, Brett. I mean, that's would be a very savvy move to somebody that kills you. You just trade for him, get him on your team, and then
Dodgers got a big dose of humble pie in Philly, didn't they?
They sure did, and we kind of talked a lot about that. I was really excited
It's the Phillies
for that. It's incredible what the Phillies have been doing. I definitely didn't expect that. I thought we would get some really good games, and they were competitive games. But to see the domination from the Phillies like that, for me at least, was very surprising.
61 wins for the Phillies against 32 losses. Win tonight. Really good chance how the weekend shakes out to go into the break. 30 over 500. Here we are.
Crazy.
Kind of pleased with the Cardinals 4 over 500.
Yeah, it's crazy. Phillies,
Daylight dark difference in the two teams.
Oh, it's incredible. And Phillies get the Athletics this weekend, so they should not have much issues with the A's,
favorites.
Overwhelming favorites.
Used to be an inner city rivalry about 100 years ago.
Yes. No, Phillies,
I did not go to any of those games.
Well, that's good. That was going to be my next question. But Phillies playing really good ball. The game that I'm very interested in, and it kind of ties into my big number, so I'm going to touch it, but I'm not going to give anything away. Tonight, Dodgers and Tigers in Detroit. Trick Skubal going for the Tigers tonight.
Yeah, Bruce liked that one.
He liked that
Against
one a
Paxton.
lot. He sure did. Skubal, do you think they make the move and ship him somewhere before the trade deadline?
No.
Really?
I think they do. A.J. Hinch is out of there.
Yeah, that would be I think that would definitely be that. But, I mean, when we talk about teams that it's a fork in the road of what you do at the trade deadline, Detroit Tigers, front of the line. They've got some fun, good young pieces. They've got Trick Skubal, who's been lights out this year.
400, 500. They committed to the long haul.
They have.
Why do that?
Because you've got a great pitcher that
and you can get a lot in return.
A ton back for, and there are teams like maybe the Dodgers
that will overpay.
You could need starting pitching, and I think that's going to be a premium at this. Really good starting pitching, I think, is going to be at a premium at this trade deadline.
I wouldn't if I'm the Tigers, but if they do, justified, you get a lot back.
Yeah, and I don't know which way I think
you got to get it back.
Yeah, you definitely do. And certainly the Dodgers usually have good prospects in their system to be able to ship out. So I don't know.
We're going to have a lot of selling teams.
A ton of selling teams. I mean, get the lists ready of teams that are gonna make moves to get rid of guys.
Might not be named stars, but it'll be a lot of a lot of movement.
Oh, it absolutely will be. And I mean, there's a couple teams, including the Chicago White Sox, that are going to look much different after the trade deadline. Definitely going to be
season starts Sunday though.
Exactly, starts Sunday, and whatever that means, cool. A guy you probably won't see for 3 or 4 years, but
Well, it starts Sunday, ends trade deadline.
Okay, interesting. So very short season, I guess, if that's the case.
That is a short season.
It's an extremely
and then
season.
Resumes next year on opening day.
Maybe. Until we get to opening day next year and they haven't gotten any better, and it's, season starts way down the road at the draft.
But this is a weekend. The Cardinals are one of those teams, I think, kind of in a different way. The Rays don't let any hope for after the break get lost this weekend.
Sure.
Boston.
Yeah.
Maybe in a series against teams thinking like that. Boston and Kansas City. Boston hosting the Royals. Let's don't let the good – Bruce was talking about the Mets. Let's don't let the good work lately get destroyed this weekend.
No, you're absolutely right.
And you sit and think about that for a couple of days.
Yes. I mean, I think that would be the last thing you would want for the Cardinals against your rival to come out this weekend and have kind of a dud of a weekend. And now you're going into All-Star break. You've only got one guy in the All-Star game, and now the whole team's just sitting around on vacation somewhere doing their thing going, man, we really struggled down the stretch. We let those that doubleheader against Kansas City get away from us when we were in good position in both of those. We go out against the Cubs, can't get anything. I mean, look at us. We were playing great baseball. We were X amount of games. We were 4 games above 500, and now look at us. We're under 500 or at 500. That's the worst thing that could happen. But I think when you're talking about the Cardinals, there's always that chance for something like that to kind of sneak in and happen.
And here comes Arizona, back to 500, 2-game winning streak. They want to close strong because they're in that National League wild card mix.
Yeah, don't look now. I mean, that team, we talked a lot earlier in the season about them and the Rangers, still kind of waiting for the Rangers to show signs of life. But, the D-backs, you had to feel that with that young talent they have in their lineup that, it might take some time, but they would wake up eventually, now sitting at 500, going against a Blue Jays team this weekend that, they have really, really struggled. And another team that could look a lot different after the trade deadline. A lot of rumors that, they could listen to offers for some of those stars. And, Brett, we were talking off air a couple days ago about this Blue Jays team and how, they could be a team when we talk about, a front office maybe wanting to make a move to just trying to shake things up and throw an interim in there. And, this is a team that's already tried that once, and you thought,
and he worked a little while.
It worked a little while, but nothing real came out of it, and now you're kind of back in the same spot, and you've got the stars there. You've got the star power, and so that's going to be a team, the Blue Jays, to watch around the trade deadline. What do they do? Do they decide, let's keep these guys around? This year hadn't played out like we thought it would, but there's always next year. Or do they make those big moves and say, things aren't working, let's go ahead and start trying to rebuild this thing?
These money lines tonight are just outrageous. We talked about it with Bruce, but I just don't know how you, in good conscience, lay 300.
No, you can't. And I've had friends in the past when it comes to Major League
Too much
Baseball.
in the bullpen can happen.
Exactly, and I've got buddies that in the past they have, especially later in the season, when they see a team that's
go against
favored by 300, they go the opposite way, and a lot
Almost
of times
have
it
to.
works out, and you get your bang for your buck because of what these numbers are. But you're right. You just look at some of the. Y'all mentioned Phillies and Athletics. That number is insane. Mets and Rockies is insane. Even the Reds against the Marlins is pretty hefty. Brewers against Nationals. It is. Betting baseball, Brett, it's not easy. You got to get a little creative.
Sonny Gray hadn't been impressive enough the last 2 times out to be laying almost $200.
No. That is interesting, and that might be more of Vegas trying to fade your guy Hendricks, and he's just not been good lately. So maybe that total sitting at 8. This might be a game where you take the over and maybe just see what happens with both these teams. The Cardinals have given up a ton of runs. Kyle Hendricks has given up a ton of runs when he starts. Over might be the look there, Brett.
Brian, I mentioned it about an hour ago with Alan Bell. Do you think any of the proponents of getting rid of the shift now would at least offer up, okay, maybe that was a little reflexive. That was a little goofy.
I'll say no.
No, they won't.
Just because I know who runs Major League Baseball, I know the people who he puts around himself to make decisions, and I think they're all the same. And they would say, well, you just got to give it time. It hadn't been in long enough to really see the results from it.
Well, we're second season into it, and it's historic low offensive output. And I talked about last night, since 1976.
Yeah, it's crazy. That number shocked me, Brett. I'll be completely honest. I was blown away when I heard that number.
There's just not a lot of action, not a lot of hits, and now we can tell you where to line your defense up.
Yeah, and it's these starting.
Okay,
pitchers,
I know nobody wants to bunt.
No. And Alan brought this up as well. But the starting pitching right now in Major League Baseball is so good, and they're not leaving guys out there. They're pulling these guys 5th inning, 6th inning, and then they've got a reliever coming in right there, fresh, ready to go. He's throwing heat. the pitching is so ahead of the bats right now in Major League Baseball, and I don't know what the answer is to fix it, but it is glaring when you watch some of these games.
It is, and then you get into the specialists, even those 6th, 7th inning holders.
Yeah.
They got it down. They lefty against lefty, they can come in and shut you down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys know their roles. They
have to stay out there for the 3 batters.
Sure, and but a lot of times it's just that. And
I don't know how wild I am about that, but I much prefer that to the outlawing the shift.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. I mean,
if you want to line your players up center a single file behind the pitcher, you can.
Probably not the smartest move, but hey, if that's what you want to do, go for it.
I still say bunt them out of it.
Yeah, but I mean, these guys don't know how to bunt. It's incredible.
And don't want to. They don't want the pitch. They don't want to hold the bat like that, and that pitch get in their kitchen.
That's right. Well, and that's because that's been the kind of conversation the last couple of years since the extra innings rules with the runner on second is why aren't teams just squaring up to bunt and getting that guy immediately over to third, and then you got a guy on third with 1 out.
Nobody wants to.
Nobody wants to bunt, and I think
here's what I think it is. It's not nobody wants to. Nobody knows how.
Well, that's I think exactly right.
Because it is really hard at any level below minor league or the major leagues use a aluminum bat to really learn how to kind of catch the ball with that aluminum bat.
That's right.
Because it's so radioactive.
Oh, absolutely. And so guys aren't learning how to. It's not fun. It's not flashy. Nobody wants to get up there and bunt.
The great bunters always did. They kind of caught the ball with the bat. They weren't lunging at it.
Oh yeah, it's I saw some coach have a drill where it was a bunting drill, and he brought out a lacrosse stick and he would throw a baseball and you would catch the baseball with the lacrosse stick, and kind of teaching them to kind of catch that ball while you're bunting. So it's Major League Baseball is very weird right now, Brett, and you're absolutely right. I mean, watching these games at night and seeing these just low scores and 2-1, 1-0, and I mean it's
with
crazy.
the ghost runner in extra innings, and not just because it happened to Ryan Helsley. If there's no charged earned runs in extra innings, how do you blow a save?
It's a great question, because it was a gift that was just sitting on second for you. I mean, that's not Helsley's fault that he gives up one hit and a run from out of nowhere scores from second. That's a great point. I have no clue. It's a lot of things wrong with baseball right now, Brett, and a lot has to do with that.
A lot right with it too, though.
Oh, a ton right. I mean, I'm watching these Major League Baseball games every night, and it's being played at an extremely high level right now, and it's so much fun to watch. So many storylines. We talk about it all the time, but for big time baseball fans like us, a lot that you can complain about with the game as well.
Next week, SEC Media Days, and our SEC Media Days coverage being brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, Gould's, Jim's Place in Collierville, your North Mississippi John Deere dealer, Wade Incorporated, the Commissary in Germantown and in Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Memphis Sports and Tourism Council, Ronnie Grizzani's, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, Jason's Deli, and the official vehicle of SEC Media Days from Landers Ford in Collierville.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break, and when we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Cork and Barrel in Hernando, Mississippi, a Southern gem for over 15 years. Check out their bigger, better, bolder new location, 2595 McInvale Road, Hernando. Huge selection, incredible pricing. Choose from hundreds of bourbons, tequilas, rum, scotch, and vodka. Over 1,000 wines from fine to very simple picnic wines. At Cork and Barrel, it's all about serving you. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 10, where the fun begins and the liquor and wine never end. Cork and Barrel, 2595 McInvale Road, I-55, Hernando, exit 280.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give My Lowe's Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not a My Lowe's Rewards member? Join for free today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Keep it twisted all year long with Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Twisted Tea is real iced tea that you can watch with 5% alcohol. Tastes great at the beach, mountains, or even in the backyard. Look for the bright yellow Twisted Tea flavors. Responsibly.
You watch sports. You listen to sports. Now let's talk sports. Well, not anymore, because Sports 56 is opening the airwaves overnight. From 12 midnight till 6 a.m. for people like you to talk sports during your own 1-hour radio talk show on Sports After Dark. For 1 hour, tell us what's really on your mind regarding sports. Your favorite sports team, favorite player, discuss pre-games, post-games, all games. Let's talk. Rotation is required. Interested applicants must contact the podcast center at gmail.com or call 901-468-3097. That's the podcast center at gmail.com or 901-468-3097. Amateur and professional talk show hosts encouraged to apply. Required orientation is Saturday, July 20th, or you can take it online at your leisure at the podcast center, Memphis.com. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
Big Daddy. Hello, Big Brand.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy. You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today comes from Major League Baseball. It also comes from John Morosi from MLB Network. I saw this on Twitter this morning. 15 is my big number. The Dodgers, who play the Detroit Tigers tonight, and a lot of people think could do some damage in the postseason. A team that every year it feels like is a team that could make damage, could do damage in the postseason. The Dodgers have played 15 straight postseason games where their starting pitcher has not recorded an out in the 6th inning. So definitely could use some length from those starters. And I think maybe Turk Skubal tonight could be a guy to keep an eye on if Detroit looks to move him. The Dodgers could be a team that would go out there and say, we could use another starting pitcher. Let's go out and grab him for this late season run.
When we approach October and the Dodgers are somewhere in the playoff picture, probably as the winner of the National League West, and that at worst will be the 3 seed, will there be any cause for Dave Roberts to go deep in October, or a reassessment with all they've spent for him and all he has is the bubble title?
Yeah, man, I think there probably will be, whether it's
I don't think that would be unfair.
No, I mean I don't know how fair or unfair it would be, because I can see it both sides, but I do think you're going to get that because of how much they've spent, because of the big names that are there. Now, obviously, health and stuff like that have to come into play, but if this team's healthy going into October, you look at all the stars on that field. I mean, I think if it's a quick exit and there's really nothing to show from an October run, I think there's going to be some maybe somewhat difficult conversations. Not saying he would be fired or anything, but kind of conversations of, okay, let's reassess things, like you said.
My big number is 10. Here are the 10 best odds right now for the Heisman Trophy. 1's Dylan Gabriel at Oregon. 2's Carson Beck. 3's Quinn Ewers. 4, Jackson Dart. 5, Will Howard. 6, Nico Iamaleava. 7, Jalen Milroe. 8, Garrett Nussmeier. 9, Cameron Ward. 10, Connor Wigman. All right, Dylan Gabriel at Oregon. They've had a Heisman Trophy winner in Marcus Mariota. They've had a quarterback Heisman Trophy winner. At Georgia, Carson Beck. They've won Heisman trophies, but never with a quarterback.
Right.
Texas, Quinn Ewers, never with a quarterback. Ole Miss, never anywhere. At Ohio State, only Troy Smith as a quarterback. Tennessee, never. Milroe, they've had quarterbacks at Alabama. Garrett Nussmeier, they had Joe Burrow. Cameron Ward at Miami, bunch of quarterbacks, or a couple. And at Texas A&M, they had Johnny. There's going to be new ground plowed for Heisman Trophy this year. And the winner's coming from somebody in that group.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't come back of the pack.
Yeah, no, it feels like it's going to be one of those guys, and obviously all of those guys have been hyped up, for the last year or so, and definitely this offseason, a lot of hype around those guys. So it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun, Heisman race, and, we'll see.
Garrett Nussmeier plus 2,200.
I liked what he did in the bowl game last year. That was fun.
He's got it too.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Can LSU had Jaden Daniels last year too? I mentioned Burrow.
Yeah.
You can go back to back LSU quarterbacks.
That would be massive if they were able to do that. It would need a massive year from the team as a whole, I think, to do it again. But no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, well, voters want to give it to another quarterback that racks up those numbers like Jaden Daniels did and deserved it.
Yeah.
But your defense didn't do anything for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the question, because now, and not saying it's wrong or right, but now with the 12-team college football playoff, it's very understandable Heisman Trophy winner from a team not in the top 4. But if we're talking about a team that maybe struggles and they're out of the top 12.
If you're not in those playoffs, I mean, how important were you?
Exactly.
Great point.
So, yeah, I think that's definitely going to be something to look at as we get into kind of this new era of college football. But speaking of college football, we need to get to a break, because when we come back to start our 5 o'clock hour, we're going to get to some high hard ones, but a little bit of a twist this time on high hard ones. Only college football related. It's going to be a lot of fun as we get ready for next week at SEC Media Days. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time, free gun rentals with purchase of ammo, and members lounge access. Top Gun, 2770 Witten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis. If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repair roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-07.
Hi, everyone. Broadcaster and ER physician Dr. Jerry Punch here. We all know about the speed of sound, but have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? If you drive over the speed limit, there are lots of sounds that you might hear. You could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, the sound of first responders desperately trying to save you. You could even hear the sound of people crying at a funeral. Because if you drive over the speed limit, you could do damage that's beyond repair. One way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
College football season is approaching quickly, and that means it's time for SEC Media Days. Brad Horsworthy is broadcasting live from Dallas, Texas, Monday through Thursday, previewing the upcoming season and bringing you interviews with players, coaches, and SEC insiders. So tune into Sportstime with Brian and Brett, as well as throughout the rest of the day for SEC Media Days coverage on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. SEC Media Days is brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, Wolves, Jim's Place in Collierville, your North Mississippi John Deere dealer, Wade Incorporated, the Commissary in Germantown and Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Memphis Sports and Tourism Council, Ronnie Grisani's, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, Landers Ford, and Jason's Deli. The SEC Media Days on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948. Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia, to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 per person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. There's a couple of wrecks getting some attention out here. It hadn't been that bad the last hour or so. As far as interstate accidents, it is Friday. We expect it to be a little bit busier, but actually it's moving on 240 East from Mill Branch all the way out to 385. Clear shot right now on Bill Morris Parkway 385 as you head on out towards Collierville. Hey, Havenly Showers transformed your bathroom with tub to curbless shower conversions. Just check out havenlyshowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our 5 o'clock hour. We're going to get to high hard ones in just a second, but I did want to give an update for anybody out there curious about Grizzlies Summer League, Drew Hill tweeted it out about 10 minutes ago, and they just showed him on NBA TV. But Zach Edey will not play tonight, and Drew Hill is reporting that he is not officially shut down, just won't play tonight, but he is probable to return at some point in Summer League. So it sounds like we still could see Zach Edey during the Las Vegas Summer League. But
how many more
be
games
tonight? I think 4 total games for them, so 3 after tonight. So
are you team shut it down, or you want to see him?
I want to see him at least one more game, but I think that's just more because I'm skeptical on him as a whole, and so I would feel a lot more comfortable going into the season if he plays one more game and is dominant and looks good.
That's fair.
Again, but I don't think either answer is wrong. I think it's a very delicate subject when you're talking about a rookie that you drafted that high and an injury going into his first season. You definitely got to take some level of caution to it.
And this game getting ready to tip on NBA TV, as you said, and I think they'll play him some more. I guarantee you he's wanting to go.
Oh, he definitely. I mean, they've shown him on the screen. He does not look happy that he is not in a jersey right now.
Probably, I'm hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks like everybody else good to go tonight. The starters: Scottie Pippen Jr., Jake LaRavia, Cam Spencer, Trey Jemison, and G.G. Jackson. So they're tipping that off right now. But let's go ahead and get to some high hard ones.
Just a bit outside.
All right, Brett, who do you want to start?
I'll start.
Okay, please.
You mind?
No, please, go ahead.
Okay. So it has been an off season, really since the clock hit zeros at the Liberty Bowl and the clock hit zeros at the Peach Bowl because of those spectacular performances by Memphis and Ole Miss. It has been an off season and summer of love like we've never seen. I say mostly, if not entirely, deserved. And it will continue with all the predictions, and you're seeing Ole Miss very highly ranked in SEC and nationally, and you'll see it in 2 weeks with the Tigers at AAC Media Days. So with all this, regardless of what happened, no excuses. Don't say, well, the injury, because nobody can factor that in. And unfortunately, somebody's going to have one. What would the win total for both teams have to be a laughing stock? You mean you told me all that stuff all summer? You talked about both of these teams or either of these teams, and they only won, fill in the blank, and never do it again. Never build up these two teams again. What's that number got to be for Memphis and for Ole Miss to be really a subject of ridicule?
Wow, that's a good question. I think for the Tigers, based on the conference they're in, I think if you lose 3 conference games this year, after all of that
3 with FSU?
3 just conference games.
Okay, just conference.
State, whatever happens with Florida State, I don't think matters. I think this is going to come down to what you do in conference. Because I think when you're talking wins and losses, I don't know how many people realistically, it could happen. I don't know how many people, when just going down wins and losses, are writing in a W next to Florida State. So I think everyone's fine. I think we've already been over that. If Tigers win against Florida State, fantastic. If they lose, it means nothing at the end of the day. I think you're talking about being a laughingstock. If they go out in conference play and really struggle, lose 3 games when we've been talking about dominating this conference and, really who's going to be the competitive team with Memphis? It's going to be Memphis and, Tulane, maybe. They've got a new coach, though. UTSA lost a lot of stuff. Nobody's going to be able to compete with them. I think if you go out there and you're losing 3 or 4 games in conference play, that's when you become laughingstock. For Ole Miss,
all right, let's go with the Tiger scenario first. If it happened, Ryan Silverfield back to that heavy criticism from late October, early November last year.
Absolutely, 100%. Because I think just the hope of the 12-team conference playoffs has stopped that. I mean, Brett, we were talking last year, a Tigers team that was winning a lot of games. And, some of the games were scary, but they were finding ways to win them. And
it was never enough.
It was never enough. It was a lot of criticism. If you go out there and struggle in this conference, it's going to be you're playing in a bad conference, you put together a great team, you had your starting quarterback return, you are not a good coach. That's what it's going to be.
Entirely being fair, when we say in this conference, That's the same criticism for Penny.
Absolutely.
It's in this conference.
It's what we
it's
talked
the one,
about for football
It's the
and
one you
basketball.
play in.
That's absolutely right.
And 8's my number. You dissected it better than I did. I had 8 with kind of the FSU factoring that in is one of them.
Yeah.
So it would be 3 more. It could be Troy.
Yeah, no, it definitely could be. I mean, that's going to be a scary. That 3-game stretch, Troy, FSU, and Navy is terrifying.
Make it 5. I think week after Navy, home against Middle, and on the road at South Florida. I think that is for using this conference. I don't think the Tigers' schedule is easy.
Yeah, it's not. I don't
I
think
think
so.
this conference is better in football
so.
than it is in basketball.
Sure. No, I think that's
all right, for Ole Miss.
extremely
Break it
fair.
down for me.
Ole Miss, oh man, I haven't even looked at their schedule real close. But I mean, Brett, we've talked about it. A lot of tough road games for Ole Miss this season in college football.
Remember
in
the
conference.
SEC road trips for Ole Miss this year. Hadn't won at LSU since 08. Hadn't won at Fayetteville since 08. Hadn't won at Florida since 08. Hadn't won against South Carolina since 04. You're bucking some incredible, and yes, I said bucking. You're bucking some incredible historical numbers here.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right. So I think, looking at this schedule, oh man, it's not easy. I say 5 losses, maybe 6 losses, and
You're
that's
nicer than I am.
Really.
My number for both's 8.
Wow. Okay.
I just can't ever. I can't ever do it again.
Sure.
If for Ole Miss it's 8-4 and going to the Gator Bowl,
right?
And for the Tigers it's 8-4 and going to the Military Bowl.
That's fair. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on both of these teams.
All right. With the Ryan Silverfield question about criticism. Would it get loud on Lane? And he goes, look, 5 years, nobody thought I was staying here this long. I'm listening.
It could. It definitely could. But, Brett, that actually leads me into my first question for you. Because let's just go. You went on kind of the negative side of what would make a bad season, a laughingstock for these two teams. I'll go on the positive side. Let's consider both teams have the seasons that everyone expects them to have, and both are in the college football playoffs. There will be a lot of talk about both these coaches in the offseason, I think. One, a coach from Group of 5 that makes the first 12-team playoff, and another coach that anytime a big-time coaching job is open, his name is the first one thrown out by people. Okay, so both teams have a great season. Which coach is most likely to return to their team next season? Ryan Silverfield, who would be, if the Tigers do what they do, he would be a pretty big Group of 5 name in the coaching carousel, and also Lane Kiffin, who, like I said, his name's thrown into every single opening. And don't forget about this, Brett. Florida is always kind of the one that people are worried about. They've got a very tough schedule, the toughest schedule in the country this year. If that one comes open, Brett, maybe are we talking about Lane going somewhere else?
Could be. First thing, I think they both return after historic years. That's my answer.
All right.
But you asked which one.
Yeah.
I think it would be Ryan Silverfield because he heard all that criticism last year.
Yeah.
He heard that I can't please them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, after the Liberty Bowl, everybody got happy. Should have been happier before that.
Should have. We talked about it a ton last year.
Now, with Lane, one thing about just making the college football playoff, if you're one of those host teams, or even if you're a visitor, you're not 1 through 4. Well, you're playing the weekend of December 20th and 21st.
Yeah.
National Signing Day is the Wednesday before all that.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in those playoffs, those places aren't waiting for anybody out of those playoffs.
Yeah.
And he didn't push this boulder up the hill at Ole Miss to leave and go, let the interim take a team to South Bend to the playoffs.
No. I think you're absolutely right.
Almost the same thing for Ryan Silverfield. And if I've used if a lot already in this segment, Ryan Silverfield could pull the shocker in that first weekend. Well, you can't touch him. Nobody can blast him out then because you're moving to the traditional bowl season around the 1st of January.
That's really interesting, kind of something that I haven't thought of, because you're absolutely right. I mean, these coaches, it's not going to be easy for them to just say, okay, my team's in the playoffs. Let me just go ahead and say, bye, guys. I'm going somewhere else.
And nobody can wait.
Yeah.
You can't wait through the portal. You can't wait through signing day. And you got to get your NIL moving for everybody at the new job.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I haven't thought about that, but you're exactly right. That's going to make it very interesting come kind of carousel for coaches.
In the SEC, who are the Blue Bloods? Give me your all-time aircraft carrier teams. Who really has made it to Blue Blood status?
Just for football.
Just for football.
Okay. I will say Alabama certainly up there.
I think everybody would agree.
Yes. Georgia, I would say, is in there as well. Now you got to kind of go some teams that maybe aren't up there right now. We've got the two easy ones out of the way. I'm going to put Florida up there.
I agree. Historically, over the long march, they've done enough.
Mm-hmm. I'll put Florida up there. Certainly Texas in the SEC now.
Certainly.
I would say certainly. I mean,
certainly.
I think Texas, that brand,
won national championships
Brett,
in the modern era.
Sometimes it gets a little funny with Blue Bloods.
Since we've had color TV,
Brett, I'm with that brand.
They were great in flat tops and crew cuts era.
That's true. I'm gonna say they just make the cut, Brett. How about that?
So you say Texas in. So you go Bama, Florida, Georgia, Texas.
That's right.
I go Bama, LSU, Florida.
I forgot about LSU.
Georgia, and I go Oklahoma. Way ahead of Texas.
I think Oklahoma's a good one too.
Heisman's national championships.
Oh yeah.
They don't disappoint when the spotlight's on. So for me, kind of in limbo, in blue blood status, kind of waiting area.
Sure.
I have Tennessee, Texas, and Auburn.
I think those are really good ones. Yeah.
Not anybody else can make a case.
No. I think the list stops there, unfortunately.
And for Tennessee, Texas, Texas, if Sark did it this year, I think you'd have to say they definitely are.
Sure. Oh yeah. If Sark pulls them through this year, then yeah, I think you're talking them in the blue blood.
But Tennessee won it 98. They have the same number of national championships the last 50 years as Texas.
That's a good point. Maybe you're right, Brett. Maybe you're right and I'm wrong. Who knows? Let's see. Where do I want to go now? All right, I'll stick with kind of the Ole Miss topic. I believe this will be my last Ole Miss question. And I don't think you were here when we had this conversation. I don't remember now who I had this conversation with, but I have my Phil Steele College Football 24 preview in front of me. And there's been a lot of talk about the quarterbacks this year. You mentioned them. You brought them up during your big number of the day. This quarterback class that is draft eligible looks to be pretty good when you look at these names. But Phil Steele has your top 3 quarterbacks that are draft eligible for 2025. Carson Beck, number 1. I think that's unanimous. Feels like everybody has Carson Beck at the top. Jackson Dart at number 2. Shedeur Sanders at number 3, if you want to go out to number 5. Drew Aller, number 4 from Penn State. And number 5, Jalen Milroe. Now, I mentioned Jackson Dart there at number 2. Phil Steele's the highest on Jackson Dart from what I've seen. You look at a lot of other mock drafts, and they're pretty much the consensus is Carson Beck, Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, and then Carson Beck. So who's right? The consensus of mock drafts or Phil Steele? Where do you think Jackson Dart will be a year from or at the end of the season when we're talking about the NFL draft?
For now, I would go consensus and go against Phil Steele. And I think right now, today, Jackson Dart is late first round.
Okay. That'd be great.
But I can promise you this. He's 97 miles ahead of Drew Aller.
Yeah, Drew Aller at 4 is
that's stunning.
Is a little surprising.
Big Osaka, slow bones is all I saw.
I mean, listen to this. Drew Aller in front of Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, Connor Wegman, Cam Ward, Kyle McCord, Riley Leonard. I mean, there's some guys that
And when does James Franklin ever get a quarterback that much better?
That's a great point. Since I've got this out, Phil Steele has, I saw it just a second ago, he has Seth Hennigan as number 14 in his top quarterbacks draft eligible.
I think he will move up. I think that will be better at the end than it is now.
Yeah.
And he will get into being drafted.
I would love that. I'd love to see him get drafted.
And
I think he
with this
definitely
big year.
will be in the mix for that for sure.
My turn?
Yeah, your turn. Go for it.
We talked about Drew Aller. We talked about USC with Bruce. We talked about Notre Dame with Bruce. So those three schools, Notre Dame, Penn State, USC, what, of those three big brands, who needs the big year this year the most? Notre Dame, Penn State, or USC?
I'm gonna go with USC. I think after last year and what happened, Caleb Williams came in after winning the Heisman. Everyone expects there was the real talk, and it feels like we have it a lot, but it was the real talk of back-to-back Heismans for Caleb Williams and kind of what USC could be under Lincoln Riley, who kind of came in and was the big splashy hire, but hasn't done much since he's taken over the job. And then last year, the defensive woes, it just felt like everybody was scoring 50 points on them every single week, and the season was not what anybody thought it would be. So I think USC going into a new conference, I think they need the big year because, Brett, you brought it up to Bruce Marshall. I think another bad season or kind of mediocre season from USC, I think we go into next year talking about how safe is Lincoln Riley's job.
And those coaches, they hear that, they know that, and they have an uncanny way of getting out of town before everybody gets after them.
Right.
So kind of a subset of that question.
Oh, man.
If Lincoln Riley had that 7-5, 6-6, even 8-4, and it's just not what he signed up for. He did not sign up to be playing in Piscataway against Rutgers. He signed up to be playing at the Palouse against Washington State. And he kind of wants to get back to Middle America.
Sure.
And there's an opening at Arkansas. Should Arkansas go after Lincoln Riley?
Ooh. Oh, wow, that's a tough one. I say yes.
Oh, heck yeah.
I say absolutely.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because, who are you going to get that's better than what you could get with Lincoln Riley?
All right, and recognize the fact. We got Lincoln Riley. Maybe get his brother, his OC.
That'd be nice.
And we need a big-name defensive coordinator badly.
Yeah.
And Arkansas is ready to – they got basketball fixed. They feel like they got baseball fixed.
That's right.
And everybody's happy. Everybody's getting along in Razorback Booster country.
I like that.
Yeah.
I won't mind that at all. All right, my turn now again. Let's see. I'm going to go one more Memphis question here.
I got one. I've already asked it of Bruce.
Okay. All right, I'll go Memphis here. I've kept it very local. I've got some ones that are very national, but I'll keep it local right now. Memphis completes an 11-1 regular season, okay? So they lose to Florida State. Let's call it that. Competitive game. They sweep through the rest of the schedule, the regular season, getting ready for a conference championship game that they would be hosting here at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. You mentioned it earlier, some of those names in the Heisman conversation. Where does Seth Hennigan, if he leads his team right in the mix for the college football playoff spot, where's Seth Hennigan's name in Heisman talks?
He's in the middle of it because some of those others will have played out. That top 10 list that I went over earlier for my big number, they will have played their way out.
Yeah.
So, and we know, I won't even say sadly, it just has become the best quarterback in college football award.
Oh, yeah. No, it absolutely has. And I've seen a lot of people kind of discussing that and can you change it, why it's that way, but it's quarterback of the year, and, that's what it is.
I talk about there will never be anybody breaking John Riggins' 38 carries in a single Super Bowl game ever again. No running back's ever going to do that. I wonder when the next running back wins a Heisman.
It's a great question. I mean, Ollie Gordon could be in the mix this year, but I don't think he's going to win it.
No, I don't either.
But, it's a kind of a shame.
And we've kind of been on Oklahoma State running back blast a few times before.
We definitely have.
I asked Bruce this.
Okay.
If you could join one of the two, if you could join the ACC or the Big 12 tomorrow, which one would you choose for the Memphis Tigers, your alma mater?
Brett, I think this is very easy for me because I've been thinking about this a lot. And I'll be honest, I'm very scared about what's happening right now with the ACC. It feels like on very wobbly legs. So I'm going to say the Big 12 because I have had these these memories in my mind and these visions in my head of repeat of what happened with the Big East. And, Tigers get the call, maybe Florida State leaves, and maybe Clemson leaves, and
it crumbles.
They called Memphis, and now everybody in the ACC has an out, and they take it, and we start seeing maybe some sort of super conference somewhere, and Memphis goes to the ACC, and now the ACC is scrambling, and they go out and add teams from the American, and maybe a couple, Mountain West teams, and it's a remake of the American, and so.
And I got a feeling that the some form of the Big 12. Stays basketball centric before the ACC does.
Yes.
Bruce hit on it. If you could join the ACC and kind of circa 1975, and, go down Tobacco Road and go to the ACC tournament in Greensboro, that'd be great.
I love that. But
all of them are. I think all those teams are going to be getting out of town.
That's right. So if I'm talking about the future, I feel a whole lot more comfortable in the Big 12 than I do in the ACC.
It would be a certain type of schadenfreude for the Tigers to have that happen.
Yeah.
And SMU have a big pie to the face.
Well, yes, SMU playing for free, Brett.
What's that getting you?
Well,
yeah.
They don't care about money down in the state of Texas. Haven't you
That's
heard?
right.
Grows on trees down there. I need to find what kind of trees they are, but
I need two seeds.
They're somewhere in Texas though. I'm gonna sneak one more in here because I've alluded to it. I've asked both our guests this question. It kind of ties in to what you brought up with me with that question and with Bruce Marshall. Within the next year, a year from now, when you're getting ready to go to SEC Media Days in Atlanta, will we have big-time conference realignment news on the table that we're discussing?
Yeah, we will. It will be, and it could be really big. It could be more toward the Big Two, the Super Two, and I don't want that. And I think it's naturally where it's headed. When you're seeing all these non-conference games with SEC teams getting canceled, you know they're going to 9 in 26.
Yeah.
Not next year. It'll be 8 conference games in 25. But you know they're going to 9. You know the playoff is expanding, and you know it's probably going to be mostly at-large teams and not conference champions because those conferences won't exist.
That's right. And, no, you're absolutely right about that because it feels like every day you see a new conference or a new non-conference game that's dropped by teams. I mean, it's happening daily.
Why do we even
now.
sign them?
It's a great question. I mean, who needs
They never get played.
No, a non-conference game that's set for 2031. It means nothing at all. Nothing. So, but I'll do it for High Hard Ones, a good edition of High Hard Ones, exclusively college football, as we've got the big week next week.
We'll do the exclusive college basketball before the summer ends.
I love it. Give me some college basketball. I would love that. But definitely got to do it as we get ready for SEC Media Days next week down in Dallas. But let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
We're in the break room at a traditional jewelry store here. Hey, Mark, I know it's our job here to try and sell every piece of jewelry, but don't sell this ring. I'm going to try to use my employee discount to buy it for my wife.
Okay, but you know you can get a better deal at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds? Are you crazy? They're not like the boss here.
All I'm saying is I got a pair of diamond set earrings there for my wife and paid a lot less than what we charge here, even after my employee discount.
Wow. You never know who you'll see shopping at Genesis Diamonds. With no middleman pricing on the best selection of diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bands, and bracelets, it's a no-brainer. I admire your dedication to our jewelry store and not going to Genesis. I know the boss really appreciates your loyalty.
It's just the right thing to do, man.
And it's nice your wife won't mind getting a smaller diamond.
On second thought, can you cover me while I take a break?
Genesis Diamonds, the smart alternative to old-fashioned jewelry shopping. With more selection, lower prices, higher quality, stronger warranties, and zero pressure. At Poplar and Perkins Extended.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can easily find coverage options that fit your budget. If only it was that easy to name your baby.
How about Jaden?
Nope.
Okay. Michael?
Went to middle school with a glue-eating Michael.
Sebastian?
Dated one in college.
How about Damien?
Vampire name.
All right. Greg?
Not feeling it.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Jeffrey?
Oh, love that one.
Wait, really?
No.
Find coverage options that fit your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store with 20 employees along with complete inventory of items. They deliver. Finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and River grills. And the garden center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, and your keys with the Key Club program. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws. You need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has them. They're just down the street at the corner of Woods and White Station. This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It hadn't been too bad trying to get out of Midtown. It still looks pretty decent over here now. I-40 up by Chelsea. As you work your way south of Memphis, it's on the increase with a little bit more volume in the last few minutes. 55 south, but it's moving all the way down through DeSoto County. Hey, Havenly Showers is your curbless shower specialist. Transform your bathroom with a tub to curbless shower conversions. Log on this weekend, havenlyshowers.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Well, we got a little bit less than 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending. A little update on the Grizzlies game, if you're curious. Grizzlies up 28-19 at the end of one quarter. No Zach Edey tonight. And right now it looks like Scottie Pippen Jr., the leading scorer for the Grizzlies as they're getting ready to start that second quarter.
Here's another scene enough. Okay. G.G. Jackson.
Okay, all right. I like that. He's kind of struggled in a couple games, but has had his moments where he's looked good. So yeah,
I saw enough last year.
Yeah, I didn't need to see him.
I know he can play
for the summer league. Yeah, so I'm kind of with you on that. And I could see them start shutting some of these guys down, especially like G.G. Jackson. A guy that played a lot of minutes last year in the NBA because of all those injuries. I think you feel pretty good about what you got with him, unless they're trying to try to get him to do some different things in a role that, will probably be more like you. But it didn't look like it because that first game, it felt like he was throwing up every shot that he had the opportunity to take. And that's certainly not going to be a role he's going to be playing in the regular season for the Grizzlies. So, it'll be interesting to see how many games G.G. Jackson plays. Jake LaRavia might be in that category. I know a lot of people want to see stuff from Jake LaRavia, but
he might be approaching a Grizzlies team record for summer league games appeared in.
Brett's getting to be a lot of games for Jake LaRavia, and you kind of see that at a lot of places around the NBA. You see those players that, we're starting to count the years of that you've been around here in summer league. So
it's a little bit like those minor league baseball players when you get out there early in the season. You're still here?
Oh, I thought you wouldn't be here by now, but no, yeah, he is still around. But yeah, a good start so far for the Grizzlies, though, in Vegas Summer League. Brett, about 30 minutes until the next time we talk to you will be in Dallas for SEC Media Days. What do you expect next week from SEC Media Days, and what do you want to hear from some of these players and coaches?
The big thing will be to see Nick Saban not there. That is going to be stunning. But he's not going to be there. Kalen DeBoer will be, and it's time to start getting used to it. We wondered what it would have been like way back then if Coach Bryant had lived after retirement and got to see, the team in season. I don't know if he had as splashy a role as Coach Saban's going to have with College Game Day, but and he even had told friends that once football season hit, he wanted to get out of town, that he didn't want to put any more pressure on his successor, on Ray Perkins. So we didn't get to see it back then. Now we're seeing it play out, so that'll be stunning. Also, Texas and OU. That's the story. That's why we're in Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, we would not be in Dallas. I've told you, Brian, the first time I ever went to SEC Media Days, if you'd have told me someday we're going to be doing that from Dallas, because, back then for everything Dallas College centered for me was Arkansas in the Southwest Conference basketball tournament, or Arkansas wanting to go to the Cotton Bowl, and with the college football playoff and the Cotton Bowl having a role in that, you're going to have a lot of SEC and a lot of SEC appearances with things in the Dallas area. That's going to be shocking that now for college sports, we know first and foremost what it is. It's the Cowboys town.
Of course.
But for college sports, it is an SEC town now.
Yeah, it's weird. I think watching.
And 1990, you could have never convinced me of that going to a Southwest Conference basketball tournament.
No, not at all. And I think that's the crazy thing. I mean, watching a couple weeks ago on the night before July 1st, and they have that big celebration down there, and you've got signs about
they embraced
SEC.
that.
They absolutely did.
That was not forced. They weren't made to act like they're glad to do that.
No, not at all. I mean, they were stoked, and I mean that kind of shows you what the SEC is and what it means to these teams. And so, for them to have that and kind of seeing all the SEC logos and seeing the signage and everything, it was kind of like, wow, this is real. And now, seeing there have been some pictures and stuff out from, Quinn Ewers and some different Texas players where you've got the SEC patch on the jerseys now, and
on the fields, all the flags.
Yeah, I mean, it's very weird.
It's happened. I think he will be asked about it maybe somewhat repeatedly, especially by some that will take it as a slight about it will be the biggest game. Again, go over their schedule and tell me where he's wrong. I'll defend him against that. Here's the order. On Monday, it'll be LSU, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Vandy. On Tuesday, Georgia, Mizzou, OU, and Tennessee. I have a note. I have UT out there. I got to watch my UTs now. On Wednesday, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi State, and Texas, another UT. And on Thursday, to end the week, will be Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, and A&M. So over all 4 days, at least kind of over the last 32 years or so, a new team. Monday, South Carolina. Tuesday, Mizzou. Wednesday, Texas. And on Thursday, Texas A&M.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to...
The old 10-team SEC is a distant memory.
Yeah, it's going to be different. It is definitely going to be a different scene down there. But no, I am excited, and you're right. You brought up the Quinn Ewers comments about where everyone's biggest games. I'm sure he'll be asked about that. And, valid question, but I'm kind of with him, and it didn't bother me at all hearing him say that, because I do think there's gonna be a lot of excitement at every single city, every single time Texas goes out and takes the field, whether it's a team on the road down in Texas or if it's Texas traveling somewhere else. It's going to be because of the newness, because of what Texas is, the horns and all of that stuff. It's going to be a massive game for these teams, and so I think Quinn Ewers is probably right. But yeah, he'll definitely, that'll probably be question number 1 or 2 for him.
Thursday may feel a little bit like back to the Southwest Conference with both Arkansas and A&M up.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Play nice out there, A&M and Arkansas. It can get a little heated between those two fan bases.
And this year is it for that game in Dallas. It's going back to campus next year,
which will be cool. I like the idea of campus games.
Both are so glad of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, Dallas is great and all, but play those games on campus and let these fan bases really get into it. I mean, you hear that argument a whole lot more in college basketball because there are just so many neutral site games, and it feels like now all these top teams just want to play neutral site games. But I'm always in favor for getting a game on campus, no matter the sport.
On college basketball scheduling, did you see today where Arkansas will play UALR, Arkansas Little Rock in basketball?
I missed
this coming season.
Wow, that's awesome.
At Bud Walton Arena. That'll be Darrell Walker returning back to Fayetteville.
That's awesome.
Great player as a player for them. And so they're going to play Central Arkansas in North Little Rock, and they're going to play UALR in Fayetteville. And next year, opening day against Arkansas State in football at War Memorial.
Wow.
Would have never happened with Frank Broyles alive.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I love that. I missed that
earlier
today, but that's going to be awesome. And a lot of Memphis flair in that game. You got John Calipari on one side, Jonathan Lawson on the other. I mean, how about that?
Somewhere, Keelan Lawson in the building.
He'll be in the stands somewhere, shouting out maybe. So that'll be fun. I'm excited about that.
And Chandler played at Arkansas last year,
didn't he? Did. That's right. Yeah. Yes. So even more flair there. Maybe
have his letter jacket on. I'm sure.
That's right, Brett. Maybe it was the Lawsons that
one
got
of his
this done.
8 letter jackets he has.
A lot
of letter jackets
gear
out there these days
for Chandler Lawson. Gear galore for him for sure. But no, that's great news, and we're getting a lot of scheduling news in college basketball these last couple of days. A lot of teams dropping their non-conference slate. We learned about Memphis and Arkansas State a couple days ago, and so now only 2 games left to be announced for Tigers. I expect that to come in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll get to see what that non-conference slate looks like for them.
I said yesterday with Greg, I don't feel like any day on Maui bracket, but I think maybe after we get through with these football media days, that'd be a good drop time.
Yeah, that feels like usually kind of like a early to mid-August drop. You get that, and that everybody's going to be wanting to see that, and what is it going to look like for
back
Memphis?
to Lahaina this year.
Yeah, and so that's going to be awesome. Obviously, last year couldn't play
that
there.
Will be with a lot of emotion for
it will absolutely
the locals.
It definitely will be, and so that will be really cool. And also, you mentioned it, Chaminade not playing this year, which always fun to see Chaminade out there, but at the end of the day, not very competitive in those matchups. So you're going to get the big boys, and you're going to get a full slate of them. And so I'm really excited to see what the Tigers draw in that, because I think any way you try to
none
slice
of it's easy.
No, it's all going to be difficult. And but those difficult games I think will make this
over the
team
moon
better.
to go 2-1, wouldn't you?
Oh, Brett, yes, I'm doing cartwheels if they go 2-1. 3-0 and
3-0, you're ranked.
Oh, pretty high probably too, because we talked about it, and obviously Bart Torvik is more analytical and is not the law or anything, but he has them at number 26 right now in his first rankings. He's kind of the first one to put those rankings out, and so I think the Tigers will be kind of in that mix. Probably more 30s.
When do we get a
consensus.
KenPom ranking?
You know what? That's a great question. I don't know.
You're a subscriber, aren't you?
I'm definitely a subscriber, KenPom. I love KenPom. I go to it daily during the college basketball season, but I haven't been there a lot since the offseason. Nothing yet from KenPom.
Who's the KenPom of college football?
That's a great question. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
do we have and somebody? I'm telling you, there's an opening for someone.
Certainly. I mean, and we talk about it
because we're going to want that every Sunday morning.
Absolutely, and we talk about it all the time.
Like we have these projected bowls.
Oh yeah,
starting after opening game.
Absolutely,
and I look at them every week.
Of course. I mean, it's and some of those guys, it's all they do. And I mean, like Brett McMurphy is one guy who obviously does a lot of good work. But man, every Sunday he'll post
pours it out.
Projected, and not only projected bowl games with lines
point
attached
spreads,
to them after week one, and you're going, okay, all right, one game down, and so-and-so's 14.5.
Anywhere you could really play those, his odds?
No chance. That's just him being with the Action Network, and I guess has some kind of computer.
You went over to Southland and said, but Brett McMurphy said.
I'd like to take Memphis minus 14.5 in their bowl game. What are you talking about?
In the college football playoff.
Yeah, they just played their first game last week. What do you mean? So no, but
you made the best point of the week.
Okay,
on the point about the Heisman Trophy winner. It will have to be from a playoff team.
It's gotta be.
I know people are going to be dismissive of somebody. Whether you have that kind of year like Darren McFadden had, or way back for Troy Davis at Iowa State. I mean, they got it then with no playoff. Now, if you don't get a team to the playoff, why are we going to give you the number one player in the sport award?
Yeah, I mean, because I think you look with the 4-team playoff, and it's okay, top 4 teams, the elite of the elites, but there's still so many eyes on so many teams outside of those top 4. When we get later into the season, all eyes are going to be on those 12 teams, and that's how people are going to judge success. And so if you've got players that are in the same category, having good seasons, if one guy has his team firmly in the mix of the college football playoff and one player doesn't, I know where that Heisman Trophy is going.
It's going to be great for kind of the enterprise of college football, but just like happened to the NIT, a lot of the bowls and a lot of the other awards and stuff will be meaningless. Everything's going to be college football or bust.
Yeah, no, you're
playoff or bust.
You're absolutely right, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's going to get weird this year and for a couple of years when it comes to bowl games, because I know we talked about it earlier this week. I think it was Matt Murschel that was on with us, and we kind of talked about how Brett Yormark said that for the next couple of years, the Pac-12 teams that are in the Big 12 are still going to play in Pac-12 bowl games, that those bowl tie-ins are still going to remain the same. And, I mean, it could get tricky with some of these Pac-12 and Big 12, Pac-12 and Big 10
you're going to have
conference games.
You could have a repeat of a regular season game, but you're sure going to have conference versus conference.
You're definitely going to have conference versus
conference. I even suggested someone with the Liberty Bowl a few years ago. I said, you ought to go SEC versus SEC.
Oh, that'd be great. But, yeah, no, you're definitely going to see it. And I saw it at the Alamo Bowl put out their 2024-25 selection
pool of teams.
And it was all of the Big 12 and all of the Pac-12 teams, and I was going, wait a minute. I know
bet Texas is glad they don't have to go back to another Alamo Bowl.
Well, yes, I'm sure. But Brett, with no Alamo Bowl, how can you proclaim Texas is back? I mean...
Well, and if you're glad you're not going to the Alamo Bowl, how do you have them as one of the all-time Blue Bloods?
Well, that's that was a miss.
A lot of Alamo Bowls for a Blue Blood.
It's a miss on my part, Brett. I will give you that. It's just that those horns, they shine bright, Brett. They shine extremely.
And that drum and
bright.
Bevo and everything that goes with
everything,
it.
A lot goes with the University of Texas. But we need to go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
All right, when
When it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So, I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote 1-800-670-5151. That's 1-800-670-5151. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-670-5151. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Brian Davis.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The Double Steak Grilled Cheese Burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The Double Steak Grilled Cheese Burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that New York Knicks All-NBA guard Jalen Brunson has agreed to a 4-year, $156.5 million contract extension. But the interesting thing about this is this new extension is $113 million less guaranteed than he is eligible to sign for a year from now, his agent Sam Rose of CAA told ESPN on Friday. And so this deal, which begins in 2025-26, will give the New York Knicks a lot of flexibility over the next couple of years as they feel like they're starting to get into that window where they can really contend, maybe add another piece or two to try to solidify that roster. So a very weird move, because usually you just see max extension here, max extension here. You're an All-NBA guy, max
Ultimate
extension.
team friendly.
Very, very team friendly and very interesting to see for Jalen Brunson.
What if he got hurt?
That's a great point.
Now, if he doesn't get hurt with the new TV deal,
sure,
he's going to really ring
absolutely.
the bell.
100%. But you're right. That fear of injury is always in there.
The Knicks really think they're close, don't they?
They think they're very close, Brett. Extremely close.
They're not, are they?
I don't think so.
what I learned today, I'm sure glad that Torey Lovello made the call to Paul Skeens. It's what the people wanted. It's what baseball fans wanted to see. And I hope they do bring him by, especially on Monday when LSU's at media days. If he's got any time, I don't imagine he's got a lot of free time, but I'd love for him to come by SEC media days. And on Tuesday night, the LSU official party, they need to stay extra day.
Why not? I mean, get him there and keep him there, I guess. So
Can't be all business.
No, you can't be all business all the time. But I was really excited to see that news, and I loved how they did it on the Dan Patrick Show. And you could see, I mean, a guy who is usually very calm, cool, and collected and kind of keeps his emotions under wraps, he was very flustered when he got the news, and you could definitely tell how much it meant to him, so that was definitely cool to see. What I could have done without today, it's got to be the Zach Edey decision to sit. Not saying it's a bad thing, because I don't think there is a right or wrong answer on what you do with Zach Edey. There's definitely going to be people that want to see him play, and most people are not like I am who want to see more of him to make me a believer. They just want to see him play. He's the new thing. He's, everyone's excited about what he can do, and they want to see him participate. But on the other side, there are going to be a lot of people that say, sit him. Don't let him play another game. We've seen enough, Brett, like you said, of, we know what he did in college. We saw what he did in the first game against Walker Kessler. You feel pretty good about what he's got to do in regular season. Don't risk an injury when it's in Las Vegas Summer League. These games don't matter at all. Keep him safe, keep him healthy, and then see what he can do in the regular season. But I would like to see one more game from him.
Mine's a preemptive. Could have done with that. Where are the soccer finals this weekend?
Ooh, good question. Let me look it up.
They're not in Charlotte again, are they?
I don't think so. No.
Where the brawl occurred. Soccer can't have that look this weekend.
No. Oh wow. Yes, they are in Charlotte.
Yep. Can't have a repeat of that.
Nope. No.
That was a bad look. That
one was too much. Yeah.
It didn't get a lot of play though.
No, it weirdly didn't. I saw it a lot on my social media the night it happened. But you're right. After that, kind of nothing from it.
Well, hockey crowds can be excessive.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right.
With chants and other things.
Yes, they definitely can be. So you're right. Not a ton from that after it happened that night. Where are you beaming this weekend?
Braves at Padres. I like this series, and both. It really impacts the Cardinals because they're right. Both Braves are ahead of the Cardinals, while Padres just behind them. So want to watch that series really closely this weekend. Cardinals and Cubs always great. I hope a lot of people are going up from this area. They usually do for that series.
Yeah, no, that should be a really fun one. I know a lot of eyes are going to be on that. Beam me to Vegas for Summer League. I'm definitely going to be watching a lot of Summer League, whether it's the rookies that everybody wants to see or those second, third-year guys that you want to see make that next step, or the guys I'm more excited about, the college guys that were, great college players, names that everybody knows, but, maybe went undrafted, maybe on a two-way, what they can show in Vegas for Summer League. We got some really good games later tonight. Grizzlies playing right now. Good slate of games as well tomorrow and Sunday, so it should be a lot of fun in Vegas.
We'll watch the Scottish Open this weekend and get us ready for early morning golf next week when the Open Championship is being played at Troon. Look out for Ludwig Aubert.
Oh, man. He's
Connor's golf pick on Wednesday to win the Scottish Open.
Tried to convince him not to take him, but he won.
Great job this week, Connor. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good week. Thank you very much. But that's all the time we have. Going to be a busy weekend as Major League Baseball wraps up before the break. Like I mentioned, NBA Summer League. But Monday, we'll be talking about SEC Media Days from Dallas. Brett will be down there, and he'll be bringing you up-to-the-minute news and everything going on in Dallas all day. So stay tuned all week right here on Sports 56 for the latest from down at SEC Media Days. But that's all the time we have. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in